All right. I believe this is Paul Enslaved on the phone with a driver, a guy. And you're going to say, oh, he's not a driver, he's a traveler. And that's fine. Okay. Personally, I wouldn't get into any of that nonsense because I would be too busy being focused on the fact that the cop doesn't have a warrant to seize you. I wouldn't worry about all of these definitions and all of these words that these guys are coming up with. It calls it a success. It says, I believe the title is something like Right to Travel Success. So hopefully he does succeed. I want him to.
Yep, so do I.
I I thought I saw this before though, and he went to jail or something. But maybe that was a different video or something, and we can look at that once we figure out what's going on. Go ahead.
Action.
Okay. Okay, so this is Paul. This is Paul.
Oh,
Yeah, that's Paul.
so I'm certainly mistaken about that then.
Well, that's all right, man. You know, you might have been thinking about a different one or whatever, but anyway, let's roll with it.
I need your license for that weekend.
What makes you believe that I need that to travel from point A to point B?
Because you have no license plates on your vehicle, sir.
Would you like to see
Okay,
my paperwork?
hold on. So already, right out the gates, he's saying, "What makes you think that I need that in order to travel?" And I understand his point. It's a good point. He's traveling. He's in a personal property. This is a conveyance that is his. It's his. It's his personal property. Okay, and if you think that your driver's license is so legitimate, then I want you to tell me why it is that you're the one that signs it then.
Huh.
Right?
All right. Yeah, I mean,
We can go ahead.
I'm with you, man.
Yes, I would. I asked for it 2 seconds ago.
That's not what I have for you, sir.
Okay?
I have here the definitions from the Motor Vehicle Code.
Okay, so what he has here is some arcane words.
Yep, he's got the secrets right here, and he's handing them over. And here's the problem with that is that are you guilty until you're proven innocent, or are you innocent until you're proven guilty? Right?
Makes sense.
So what are the facts going on right here? Is he being seized, Doc?
Yeah, he's pulled over, so that's a Fourth Amendment violation. The cop has no warrant to pull him over.
Well, hold on, Doc. Is it reasonable?
No, it's not reasonable. Reason is decided by a judge. Warrant is another word for reason.
Good job.
And the judge is the only one who can establish probable cause
Exactly.
or reasonable suspicion. The cop doesn't have that power.
Precisely.
Yep.
I have the Supreme Court decisions and everything you need here to...
Oh, so here's all this useless policy that I'm handing over that you probably aren't smart enough to read. You're probably too illiterate to read it in the first place. But go ahead and here's this.
Well, Doc, what is a Supreme Court decision?
It's a policy, a ruling, or an opinion. That's all it is. It's not law.
What? Oh, it's not law at all? You're
Not
saying?
law. Nope. We're going to go back to Civics 101, huh? Okay, so the lawmaking branch of the government is called the legislative branch, which includes your state Congress and the National Congress. Then you have
all of these socialist councils, including your city council, can create laws.
Well,
but as long as they don't violate your constitutional rights.
Right. As long as they're not counter to the Constitution. And if it's not counter to the Constitution, then what the hell is the point of making all these that are counter to the Constitution? What's the point?
It's a 14th Amendment violation.
Of course it is.
Congress shall make no law abridging federally protected rights. But that same goes for a lower branch, say your city. They can't violate your state constitution either.
And nor can they violate federal.
Certainly not that one.
Yeah, so they could be brought to account on a state and federal level in a criminal action if they write unconstitutional laws. That's something else we probably need to get into. But
we're talking conspiracy against rights under color of law.
Absolutely.
Listen, you guys might think that it's okay to be on the street corner and get interviewed and say, we need gun control. But the absolute truth is that's a conspiracy against American rights.
Yep.
You're like, we need to have a vote for disarming people. That's a conspiracy. You might think that you have a right to your freedom of speech or something like that, but now what you're doing is you're committing treason against the American people, where you're taking part in a war, the war on guns, against the American people. Which, why do people have guns, right? To protect themselves because cops aren't your personal bodyguard. They're here to uphold people's rights, and that's it. Otherwise, you really need to take care of your defense on your own. And for me, it's almost meaningless. For a jeweler, you're probably going to want to have a personal protection device. And depending on the country you're in, basically every citizen might need it.
Yep. It also depends on where you're at. Like if you live, up in the Cascades, close to where you live, when you're out in the woods, you're going to want to be armed.
Certainly.
You're going to want to be armed because there's people in those woods that are bad.
There's animals that will get you.
There's animals that will kill you. Sometimes even if you have a gun, they'll still get you, like a mountain lion.
Right.
Most people don't even see them coming. They don't even know anything until they're in heaven.
They're terrifying. I've dealt with them before. They are terrifying. Do not be mistaken.
Yep. The only way you're going to survive a mountain lion attack is if you're wearing armor around your neck and around your torso.
What it is? Okay, so one night I was in a lean-to, just branches, and this mountain lion came sniffing around, was wanting to get me. And honestly, all I could do is put a pocket knife in each hand and just be ready.
Be as threatening as possible.
And I was quiet as possible. But if he came in that lean-to, we both know it's on. We both know. And I had 2 6-inch blades. That's got to at least match his claws.
Yeah. I don't know, though, man. We're at a disadvantage.
Unless you've got, obviously, a firearm. Bro, pop one into the air immediately. He'll fucking run for the hills.
It's actually better if you fire into the ground. It's better if you fire into the ground.
Oh, is it?
Because that bullet has to go somewhere. And we don't want to kill somebody. You don't want a negligent homicide.
Yeah.
Always fire into the ground, people, if you want to scare away an animal. Okay. Anybody who, don't fire it through the woods. Just shoot it in the direction of the creature so they get the full blast of that sound. That sound wave is a very powerful thing, man.
For sure.
Yeah, but we humans are at a disadvantage with large cats because they're so quiet and they're so smart and they're so self-aware of what they are that they use everything they have at 100% efficiency. I mean, they are built to kill. Large cats are built to do nothing but kill. That's all they're built to do, man. Kill and make little babies, make more.
Small ones are.
Like a bobcat will run away from you, but house cat can fuck you up if it's got claws, man. Yeah, you better be wearing some welder's gloves if you think you're going to grab a cat by the scruff of the neck. Because they will turn around and fuck you up. They're not a joke, man. And the large cats are even worse because they're bigger and they're more powerful, man. I mean, imagine a tiger. That's like almost getting attacked by a shark, but I would think that being attacked by a large cat would be a lot more terrifying and a lot more painful and a lot more.
Well, at least it'd be over quick.
Yeah, well, in theory, they usually go for I know that when they go for people, they're going for your neck, and you can defeat that, but you're going to have to be wearing armor. And who the fuck is wearing armor when they go out into the Cascades?
Well, really, you need a knife or something to at least get it through. Yeah. All right, let's start on this video.
Okay, yep, let's get cracking on it.
Understand that I don't need a license, registration, or any documentation to travel from point A to point B.
Okay, so he's got what he's got there is a scroll of understanding that he just handed to the cops, and he assumes that the cop's going to comprehend that he's not really just a socialist.
He's trying to prove his innocence, and it's stupid.
Yeah, when he doesn't have to.
It's court on the side of the road, and you don't need to get into that.
Yeah, that's the cop is not qualified. He's not even qualified to find time, place, and manner.
Did we
He's
already
not even
mention
qualified for that.
Did we already mention he doesn't have a warrant, or what?
Oh yeah, we talked about that. You asked me about who makes laws and what does he need a warrant for and all that. Yeah, he needs a warrant signed by a judge who is the reasonable person that establishes probable cause.
And it's based off an injured complainant's sworn statement of damages.
Yep. Without that, you can't get a warrant.
So this is an illegal traffic seizure. He's calling
absolutely.
it probably a stop, but all right, let's continue.
Is a right that has been preserved by the Supreme Court and the law of the land.
Okay, so in that one little tiny blurb there, he says the Supreme Court and the law of the land. Supreme Court doesn't have anything to do with it, Paul. Okay, Supreme Court doesn't have shit to do with it. They don't have anything to do with the law. They make rulings, decisions, and opinions. That's it. They don't make law. They don't make policy. They don't make ordinance. They don't make statute. They don't make anything but decisions, rulings, and opinions. Dummy.
Okay, sir. In order to drive in Colorado, you need to have license.
It's not driving. The definition says right there, sir. Driving is doing commerce where you're employed on the road.
ID?
I don't need to present ID unless I'm in the commission of a crime, sir. I have not committed any crime.
Okay, there we go. He's saying basically he's saying what crime? I haven't committed a crime. No, it's not that, dude. It's do you have a warrant?
Right.
Because papers, the Fourth Amendment secures you in your property, your effects, and your person and your home. We'll just go ahead and say home as well. I mean, that's part of your property.
Papers and effects. Person's house,
right.
Papers and effects.
And the papers are your identification, and your papers are the license plates on your car because they can identify you. And if it can identify you, then they're going to need an honest to God Fourth Amendment warrant to come and question you or ask for your ID. They have to have a warrant. That's what the Fourth Amendment is all about. It protects us from them, and it gives people a mechanism to use.
To demand ID is the difference.
Right.
Requesting is a consensual situation.
Right. And we don't ever consent because once you consent, you're agreeing to everything that cop is getting ready to do.
So he has a right to remain silent, but he's consenting to speak to him.
Right.
Can this help him? No. Everything he says can be used against him, and it will not be used to exonerate him. It will be hearsay.
Right. And even if it does exonerate him, they're going to conspire to suppress that evidence.
Well, what it is they're going to, yes, but what they're going to do is they're going to say this is hearsay because this isn't sworn testimony of this guy. He's just babbling, essentially. Yep. It's not sworn testimony. He could be lying, on purpose.
Yep.
And that would be fine. He can do that.
He can do that because
because he can do that, now we can't admit any of this into evidence because it's not evidence because it's just hearsay. Because it's not he could potentially choose to just lie and it would be okay, and because of that it's not considered good testimony. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep.
You violated traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The definitions are right there, sir. If you'd like to go to court, we can handle it.
I need your ID, okay? I need your license, insurance, registration.
He still doesn't have a warrant, so he's insisting on committing crimes is what he's doing.
He wants an ID which is a seizure of your effects. He wants to seize them. He doesn't have a warrant to do so, but that's what he's demanding. So what's this man guilty of here?
Nothing. The cop is still. Yeah,
what's
the cop
guilty of? That's what.
Well, he's guilty of a Fourth Amendment violation at least twice because he pulled the guy over, and now he's asking him for his ID. He doesn't have a right to do that. He doesn't have a warrant. He's probably violating the 5th, the 6th, and the 14th. right?
You don't
14th
have
is,
to provide information that will be used against you according to the 5th.
That's right.
The 14th would be like a due process probably because we're having court here and we
Right,
don't
and
even have an injured complainant.
Yeah, we don't have an injured complainant. We don't have a stenographer. We don't have a judge. We
There's
got
no
this.
sworn statement of damages. There's no
Right.
warrant based on that. And,
Yep.
and so because of that, this is due process because now we're having court on the side of the road. Due process.
Operating motor vehicle.
Did you even look at my paperwork at all?
Yeah, the cop is not. Okay, look, listen, and understand that the cops are not even qualified to establish time, place, and manner. Okay, so they
Hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Time, place, and manner is a violation of your rights. So
That's right.
it doesn't. It's the Supreme Court. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. Well, okay.
No, it's literally it's meaningless.
But what I'm saying is the cop is not qualified to even do that. How can we assume he's going to read anything and comprehend it? He's not, and he doesn't.
He's a
just
high
like
school graduate, and he didn't go to law school.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We don't owe the cops anything. We don't owe them anything.
Right. Well,
We're
he's
already
innocent already.
Right. Of course. Well, the cop is guilty, but Paul is not guilty of anything.
Right.
He's the one being violated. But he insists on pointing at the magic scroll, the arcane invocation that's going to get him out of this, and it's not necessary.
Sir, I'm looking at your paperwork.
Did you read the definitions? The motor vehicle code definition is in there. It says driving is doing commerce on the roadway. I am not doing commerce. I am not employed.
21. Can you start another?
If you could please get a supervisor out here, I'd appreciate it, sir.
Okay, what does he need a supervisor for? He needs a supervisor so he can arrest this cop, right? And tell the supervisor to take him into custody, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
This is disorderly conduct in my state. He's already seized him on the side of the road. Go ahead and place him under arrest. It's already a disorderly conduct in my state. Check your state laws. You need to figure out what your citizen's arrest law is. If you need to find a felony, you need to go something like probably a deprivation of rights under color of law or a state charge such as, I don't know, violating his oath, dereliction of duty.
right. While armed. All of these things are while armed, which could make them felonies.
Which can bring a misdemeanor up to a felony. Right. Right.
That's right. And once it's up to a felony, you can absolutely arrest them no matter where. Well, in my state, it has to be a felony.
Check your state.
So if they pull you over and they ask you for my, they say, I need to see your ID, not ask for it, then that's a Fourth Amendment violation with 6th and 14th and probably First Amendment, definitely the 4th a couple times.
Well, really what it is you need to ask for a warrant and then you need to dismiss them. Okay. Now, once you've told them that they're creating a disturbance and they need to leave and they don't have a warrant, then, yeah, now we're talking about a disturbing of the peace or a disorderly conduct, something like that. And then we're also for disrupting your lawful business, right? So you want to check your state law. What is disrupting your business? And then once the cops do it, because they're going to do it every time. So you should at least learn that. Certainly.
Yeah. They're absolutely going to do it every time. They do it all day, every day.
Yeah.
Okay, do me a favor and then turn the car off then. I'll get a supervisor out here for you. Okay.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere, sir.
Off.
Okay,
What is off? Turning a car off is a seizing.
That's a seizure.
Seizing up the engine. Stopping
Yep,
it.
that's a seizure because he's ordering him to turn off the car. That's a seizure. He's in his mind, Paul is already seized.
For me then?
Am I obligated to turn my car off? I'm not intending to go anywhere. I'd like to handle this matter.
Don't ask. You tell them.
Right. Yeah. You don't ask
them. That's kid shit.
Every time you state anything in the form of a question, you're giving them a chance to get their crowbar in and start prying open your armor to get inside.
Well, why doesn't this man know that he has a right not to be seized?
Because
can he read or what the hell's going on? Honestly, someone could read it to him. It takes 5 minutes to read a page.
Paul is another case of a real intelligent guy who's stuck on this notion that every single bit of our rights hinge on some kind of an arcane invocation or some kind of a ceremony or a summoning of those rights. It's not that complicated, people. All you got to do is stand.
You do have to invoke them, which is similar,
you have to.
I guess.
You have to enunciate.
Enunciate it. Yeah.
You have to talk it. You have to listen. If there's one thing that Americans are good at, we're good at talking. The second thing we're good at is we're good at complaining. We're good at complaining. We are the biggest complainers on the fucking planet. I'm not saying it's not nonsense. I'm just saying there's no excuse for any American not to be able to enunciate their rights. Because if any nation on this planet is full of people that that know nothing better than how to talk, it's us.
And settle it right now. I have no reason to leave. Why would I do that?
Okay. I'm getting another unit out here per your request.
Sure.
Okay. All I asked is to see your license, insurance, registration.
I'm telling you that I don't have such because I'm not required to by law.
Why is he producing all this evidence to be used against him? I mean,
I don't know.
Talk about a goddamn fool. Man, talk about fucking up. Like, you are already innocent, you shithead.
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong. He's done nothing wrong.
Well, if he has, it doesn't matter because no one cares.
Right.
There isn't an injured complainant. Injured complainant.
A complainant with damages.
Right.
That would be the injury part.
It's been upheld by the
state of Colorado. You are required to have license, insurance, registration.
It's federally been upheld.
Motor vehicle on state roads.
The definition is right there from the Motor Vehicle Code. Driving is defined as doing commerce on the roadway employed by somebody. I am not employed to do commerce on the roadway. I am traveling in my private property from point A to point B, which, as it says in there, is my right to do so, upheld many times in the Supreme Court.
All that's true. However, it's irrelevant.
It is irrelevant because of the supremacy clause in the Constitution of the United States.
He already has. Yeah, exactly. He already has the right to be secure in his person. That means no seizures, no searches, unless there's a warrant.
A warrant, which is a
signed
reason
by an injured complainant.
Right, signed by an injured complainant.
Determines if there's probable cause to make an arrest.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Confirmed by a judge who makes the probable cause. He decides what probable cause there is based on the evidence and the complainant. Right? The statement of the complainant and or physical video evidence, whatever evidence they got to produce.
There's going to be an injured complainant, and he's going to have a sworn statement, and then the cop's job is going to be to collect, say, security camera footage, maybe, or something like that, and get it to the judge. That's what cops do. Is they are couriers essentially, where they're bringing shit to the judge. The judge will sign a warrant, and now they're seize agents. Boom! Right. Now they're seize agents, and they're
doing their job.
They have police powers now. Yep.
They have the ability to pull you over, snatch you out of the car with no explanation, if they got a warrant. They have to show you the warrant first, then they can just snatch you out. I mean, that's, they don't have the right, the warrant doesn't tell them.
If they don't show you the warrant, then you have self-defense measures you can take.
Right. Well,
but if they show you a warrant, then yes, now you have to submit.
And really, like you said the other day, man, these cops can get a warrant inside of 10 minutes, maybe 15. If
Probably
they got
less.
Honestly, they got a
If that's your job, you're going to make it fucking happen. Bro, you can get an order of fucking fries and a chicken sandwich in 15 minutes. Why can't we get a warrant? Like what?
Right. There's no special preparation. All somebody has to do is look at the complaint and decide probable cause. It's not, it doesn't require any special effort.
If they take the actual effort to make a real injured complainant sworn statement, sure, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's that the cop, just like a server in a restaurant, is going to be like, I have an order up. That means deliver it. And it's just like, it's the same for the cop. I have an order up. Get it to the judge, and now the warrant, boom, now seizure. We're talking, what, 7, 8, 10 minutes? You have
maybe.
You have a responsibility to defend yourself anyway. whether or not this cop is doing something for 20 minutes or an hour, it's still up to you. This is still your life.
That's right. You got to take charge of it, or else, get in the cage. There are people that just don't know how to stand up for themselves in any kind of circumstance. So the safest place for them is going to be institutionalized in a cage and have their whole lives regimented for them, because they can't do it out here. Obviously, they can't do it out here. Paul is not one of those people, but he's proven that he is, because he doesn't really know what the law is.
Well, he's making the common mistake of arguing cases and shit like that. While the things that he's saying are true, they're irrelevant.
Yeah, and the cops don't want to hear that shit. And in court, the judge will say, "Well, we're not going to talk about that if you bring up a case precedent."
Well,
so
this
case
was labeled success, so hopefully he gets through it. I hope he does. Let's he's wasting his breath.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. Let's let a few minutes of this play. Let's let 5 minutes of this play.
Sure, no problem, bud.
Skip though. Just skip.
Work and
Yeah, skip.
Sir, there's
Okay. Is he talking to a cop?
I'm gonna ask you
He is now.
your license, search, registration. Okay.
Sir, there's no circuitous route here. I'm telling you.
Can you at least tell me your first and last name and date of birth?
I don't believe that I'm obligated to give you any of that information unless.
And he's not. That's a Fifth Amendment thing.
But he asked him, and why doesn't he just say no? What? Do you see how he's on this defensive?
Yeah, of course.
Where he's like,
I
have to prove that I'm okay to you.
Yeah, that's part of the this desire for the arcane to be part of it. These people are looking for magic words that are going to turn this cop into a reasonable person and not just a road pirate. That's not going to happen. It's like trying to turn a rock into a grilled cheese sandwich.
It'll happen if you do what your job is, which is straight up. To start with, you invoke your right not to be seized. Duh.
That's right. I have a
right
Fourth Amendment
law.
Yeah.
It's in the Fourth Amendment.
It's not complicated. It's not complicated.
So if you haven't done that, then what are you? You're less than amateur.
Yeah,
you're a home model. You're a home cook. You're not a.
Yeah,
you're not even in the running on a chef level. I've been watching Restaurant Impossible.
Let's
obviously.
Let's and he I don't know, man. He's looking like 86 right now, man, because he's trying to find the magic words.
Everything he said is true,
but it's not going to help him.
It's just that he's doing court on the side of the road, and it's like, why are you even playing this game? And he's got all this advice for people. That's the problem. Is that everything he's literally, we have to stop every 2 seconds because his choices are nonsense over and over again. And it's like, what? You're going to go and watch his channel? Even if he gets through this traffic stop, it's so asinine that he's over here having court on the side of the road and arguing these cases and stuff like that. He thinks he's some roadside lawyer. It's the fact that you don't understand the law that makes you think that you need to be a roadside lawyer. Because you don't, man. You're already innocent.
Well, he's definitely got a sideshow going on here. I wish I could say that I like Paul. I don't like him because this
is terrible.
I know he's an intelligent guy, but he's pointing it in the wrong direction. I don't know. He's not using his tools to effect, man, and that's his big problem. All
I see here is mental illness and a willingness to follow whatever stupid videos you've watched. You don't require proof. You don't, dude. What are his citations here? The courts? That's not the law. You don't cite them unless they know what the law is and they make the law, maybe, or like They need to at least be the ones that are making this law that you're wanting to. What are you agreeing to here? Because if you're
Right.
agreeing to whatever the courts say, well, they can just say the courts have held people guilty for driving without a license. That's true.
Right. So that's what they're going to go. That's what they're going to come from. All right.
So he's trying to drive without a license or whatever, right? Is that what it is? What's going on here? Does he
he's
have
driving,
plates?
No, he doesn't have plates on the car either.
Okay, good. And now he's appealing to the courts, which have definitely held people guilty for driving without plates. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely, man.
So
Yeah.
why would you want to stand under anything the courts have come up with?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the pursuit of this, arcane, obtuse knowledge it's nonsense. The basic word for it is nonsense. But, to me, it sounds like, some kind of, he's trying to perform some kind of sideshow, roadside illusion sorcery on this cop. And it just doesn't make any sense.
He's trying to play the shell game with the cop. And it's
Right.
like, hey, the cop's like, hey, that's our game.
Well,
that's our game is to keep you
Right,
looking
yeah.
over here and keep you looking over here. If this
Right.
works for him, I'm glad that it did. Let's continue.
Let's let it roll for a minute. I'm not going to stop it. I'm just going to let it go for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Well,
Commission
we
of a
can't
crime
do
if
that. He's going to fuck up every step of the way. These people are nonsense machines. It's going to, bro, that's just how it is.
I'm wrong, please produce a law for me. I'm entitled to see the law if that's the law. This is nothing
Right?
personal.
Yeah,
Already,
he's not entitled. Yeah.
already
There's
it's
no-
irrelevant what law he's broken because he doesn't have an injured complainant.
Right,
So
there's
he
no
doesn't
interest
have
in it.
a legitimate complaint that's going to generate a warrant. No warrant may issue. See, every word he says is going to be fucking nonsense. So let's go ahead.
I have no issue with you. I'm simply trying to abide by the law of the land and by the motor vehicle code and by all the rights given to me in this
I
country.
don't know what motor vehicle code you're following, but in the state of Colorado, you need to have a license, insurance, and registration to operate a motor vehicle on state roads.
Okay, can I give you the definitions of that by Black's Law's Dictionary?
What?
He's just basically agreeing to stand under this stupid shit that cop just said. When the actual truth is that, no, he can't be seized without a warrant. It's the Fourth Amendment.
Right. The whole interaction is illegal and the crimes are being committed against Paul.
Yeah.
Operating a motor vehicle is defined
That's
in
not the dictionary I follow, man. I
Bishop,
follow the
that's
Colorado
what
Revised Statutes.
then you
See?
have a conflict of interest.
See, that's the point, though, is that I like the point the cop brought up. I like it because he's saying that's not the dictionary I follow because
It's true.
it's true. Yeah, it is true. It is true. What he is sworn to is the laws of the United States, first and foremost, and then the laws of his state, and then the laws of his city. And that's fine. That's fine. Because can this traffic stop occur as long as he's obeying his Fourth Amendment right not to seize this man without a warrant? No.
No.
Okay. Continue on.
With the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court, which is the highest law of this land, follows
Nope,
Black's
wrong.
Law's Dictionary.
Everything
So
they
I'm not-
say, as usual, everything these fucking people say. Okay, this is the proof in the pot. This is what it is. The proof is in the pudding, right?
Yep.
And this is it. Okay, so what's the proof of this man? Is that he's going to invoke Supreme Court as law. He said it himself. He believes it. He desires it, or whatever. Is it true?
Nope.
A fifth grader can tell you better than that. Go ahead.
I'm not interested in contracting with you or following anything that you follow. Like I said, even in the motor vehicle code, which you guys are following as a corporation, the Supreme Court is beyond that. But let's just take the motor vehicle code. The definition of my understanding of a motor vehicle
The definition of my understanding is nonsense.
is
Yeah.
a vehicle that is doing commerce on the roadway. It even gives definitions in the code. It says tractor, trailer, bus, or a taxi, right? Taxi driver, bus driver, truck driver. I am not a driver because I'm not
Look.
transporting or
When you argue about words, that is the very definition of semantics. That's what words is.
Yep.
Semantics. So do not argue words. You have rights. Why would you argue words? It's so far. It's so far from rational. Like, bro, people are accepting this shit every day. I went and watched this guy yesterday, and it was even less. This is at least somewhat coherent. I can follow it. His channel is completely insane, and I can't follow it at all. This is at least he's showing he's wanting to stand under some Supreme Court crap. They don't make laws. A fifth grader can tell you that.
They're part of the judicial branch. They do not make laws.
They certainly do not find the Fourth Amendment unconstitutional. That's one
right.
thing they couldn't possibly do. But everyone, including fucking genius over here, believes has happened. So
yep. And that's that's where the responsibility falls on us. Everybody thinks it's because of our permission. It's because of our silence. It's because of our
He's volunteering.
unwilling.
He's volunteering. He's like, I'll stand under the Supreme Court fucking nonsense. That's not even a law.
I don't want to be I don't want to be in contract with you, but I'll stand under something that's not even law. It's craziness, man. You're right.
If you think that declaring that you haven't contracted with this cop means a fucking thing, you are gonna goddamn lose.
Yeah.
Stand on your rights. What the fuck? Always the arcane, the obscure. Just nonsense.
If it's nonsense, it's just like religion. Scientology. It's all nonsense, but it seems arcane and it's confusing and it's mysterious and it seems like it should be written on a magic scroll and there should be an invocation that we have to make. It's not any of that. It's so simple.
Right. Like their religions are like no graven images, and then they're like, we're going to all have crucifixes. And it's because of some secret little fucking somebody turned left when they was going to turn right in 1402.
It's crazy.
Council
man.
of fucking this or that. And it's just like, what the hell are you talking about? It's in the 10 Commandments. No graven images, you idiot. So you're gonna have to come up with something better than that.
Look, right, like the Bible even says that the true word of God will not be mysterious. It'll be plain and straightforward. That's the same thing with our laws, man. The Constitution that is given supreme power by the Supremacy Clause because of we the people way back when, and enunciated and invoked by us, currently, it's not magic. It's a real standing. Stand on your rights, enunciate your rights,
citing your source, citing high law, proving
that's right,
proving that no other law could come before this because Supremacy Clause. These are high laws and these are subservient, so
right,
and they can exist as long as they don't violate my high law, which is the reason that all 50 states joined, not through conquest but through choice, because they were like, oh, we have a right not to be seized unless there's a warrant signed by a sworn complainant, and then the elected official, the judge, is going to find that probable cause or not, and sign the warrant. And now a cop, what is a cop? Paperwork pusher, and then now serving a warrant. Do they have a right to have guns on when they're serving a warrant? Probably. But what if when they're not serving warrants? I don't even think they should have guns unless they're serving a warrant, because they don't know that they're in mortal danger. They need to have some sort of reason to believe that.
Well, that's, we come to officer safety, and that's a topic for a whole other video.
It would be better for their safety if they walked in there unarmed, because then no one is threatened.
Right. Yeah. What's the very first reaction when you see a cop in the rearview mirror? You see a cop coming the other way.
It's like, you understand, shotgun, AR-15 sidearm.
Right. They're armed to the teeth. And
fucking chemical weapons, fucking maybe dogs, attack dogs. Like, that's what comes to mind. But if that didn't come to mind, then people wouldn't be shooting cops. And I think that we should not be shooting each other at all, including both directions.
Yeah, I agree. They're all human beings, maybe. I mean, some of them definitely aren't. But
it's not our choice to make. They just need to follow the law. And we have laws, and there are things like not seized without a warrant, and there's things like, okay, we can continue.
Okay.
In the act of trafficking any goods or peoples,
Let me ask you a question. What were you doing right there on Colfax then? Operating the motor vehicle. Would you consider yourself a driver?
Colfax.
Of a motor vehicle?
Absolutely not.
Is this Denver? Must be. I've been there. I lived on Colfax for a while in the
I'm not
in the motel
sure.
fucking nightmare that is either east or west Colfax, but I lived on west. But
okay, so I'm not sure where he's at.
It's a slum type of situation. It's fucking Compton. It is.
Okay, so it's a bad neighborhood.
It's that there's a lot of poor people running around.
What's up, Don? Don
Certainly.
is in, I think. There's only 2 people in the chat. I think it's Jeff Hates Pigs and Don. Anyway.
Can you give them a recap? And I'm going to take a break for a minute. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically we're talking about Paul Unslaved and how counter to the actual simplicity of the supremacy clause in the Constitution, everything that he's talking about is. He's talking about, corporate contracts and jurisdiction and blah, 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 blah. All these things that I consider arcane because, because the supremacy clause and the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all of our rights that are protected therein, inalienable, which is the same thing as supremacy. They can never be taken away. They can never be taken away or violated without whoever thinks they're going to take them away or violate them being a criminal. They're always going to be criminals, and in some cases, they're going to be traitors. But Paul is talking about this a corporate person, basically. He's talking about these inanities that don't matter to this cop one single bit. When if he would just stand on his fourth, he'd be good, man. Look, I have a Fourth Amendment right to not be seized, and that includes my home, my property, my effects, and my person, my body, my ID, my car, my house, any of those things. Need a warrant, dude. Jeff Hate Pigs, if you're still in the room, drop a chat. I guess I can see who's in here somehow, but I don't know. I'm a dummy. I'm not real great with SteamYard just yet, and I'm using it on Google today, Google Chrome, and I'm not a Chrome person, so, sue me, I guess. Basically, the Supremacy Clause makes the Constitution the highest law of the land, period. Everything else has to be constitutional. All the laws written after the Constitution on a state or national level or county level or township or city or whatever has to be constitutional. If it's not constitutional, then they are null and void and, could be, in fact, considered treason. So, law of the land. The law of the land is simple. It's not this complicated, arcane, obtuse nonsense that Paul is talking about. So let's roll him on.
Yeah, you don't have to look in 100 different places to figure out what the law is. You just look in the one place where it explains the high law.
Constitution. That's it.
This is not a work in progress. Like, the Supreme Court figured out this and figured out that and figured out this. No, buddy. They didn't figure out shit. They don't make laws. Legislatures make laws. Federal legislature is your bicameral Congress, which would be the Senate, and then the House of Representatives underneath it, and then we're gonna have a state legislature. Mr. Bear, dude, come on, man.
That dog issues.
All right. These different legislatures, there's going to be a city legislature, and they're going to come up with codes or something like that. Do the codes ever apply to you? Yeah, they could.
If they're constitutional.
As long as it doesn't violate your federal rights, and then you have state rights, I guess. I don't know. Don't worry about state rights. But things like state rights would be like a citizen's arrest law or,
Right, empowerments, not detriments to freedom. Let's roll this. We got quite a bit to go. I don't know how much more of his nonsense I can take.
I hope he wins.
Well, let's do this. I'm gonna go to about halfway.
Oh, you want to vote? It says in the title, bro. He says he succeeded.
A driver's
driving a car.
A driver, by definition, I understand there's a colloquialism that we don't understand here, or maybe they haven't told us, or we don't understand. But
okay, first of all, this cop probably doesn't even understand what colloquialism means.
Well, why argue words? It's semantic. It's all semantics.
Man, we're talking about a 6-syllable word. No cops speak in more than 4 syllables.
But why even argue? A colloquialism is
right. It doesn't make any
understanding of a word. That's what it means. So it's just words. It's arguing words. You have rights, bro.
You don't have to argue about words.
Yeah, don't argue words because you have rights, and they'll sound like words, but it's like freedom of speech is a right. It's not words.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's go on with this nonsense clown show here. You know what he reminds me of is the gypsy in the box at the carnival. You know, you put a quarter in and it.
I hope he doesn't end up in prison over this stuff. That's what I hope for him. I hope he does not goddamn end up in a cage over this gibberish.
I hope he doesn't either.
I want him to get on the right track, and I want him to win the right way. And it says that he won. I kind of doubted at this point, but still, win the right way. Invoke your rights, give some lawful orders, move along.
The word driving, by definition, means you must be employed by somebody. So I was not driving. I was traveling in my private property from point A to point B, which, like I said, the Supreme Court has upheld many times. I have the right to do so.
That's true.
If I was, let's say, doing Uber or some form of hauling goods or services on the roadways, then yes, the government has a right to know that I can operate the roadway to do that.
Is that true, though?
No, because the government doesn't have rights. They have duties. That's all they have. No, they don't have rights.
But sometimes you do agree, and like a trucker.
Right, licensure.
I have no idea what kind of agreements they get into, but they agree to something. And I don't know. You're going to have to know if you're a trucker.
Right.
Continue on.
Oh, shit. What did I just... God damn it.
If you want to bring those charges, that's fine. But when we go to court and they convict me in the local court, I will go to...
It's not fine for the cop to bring charges, right?
He doesn't have a warrant.
And it can't be a legitimate warrant because there's no complainant.
No injured complainant. No injured complainant. You've got no case, old man. No case.
Supreme Court, and you will be held accountable and liable for those charges, just like a credit card. You cannot bring charges and not be held liable for them because the responsibility and onus is on the person bringing them. So I would hope that you'll be able to prove in a court of law, based on case law and everything else, that I don't have a right to operate. Excuse me, not operate. See, this is the game. I don't have a right to take my private property from point A to point B, which, like I said, the Supreme Court ruling is...
Is that the game?
No.
Well, whether he's driving or whether he's operating private property. Do you think that's the game?
No, because the standing of the stop is 0 because this cop does not have a warrant, which indicates probable cause decided by a judge based on a written statement of an injured complainant in the form of a sworn
statement. They could swear it, verbally. Certainly.
Right, exactly. Sure, yeah,
But
yeah,
a
of course.
sworn statement, not just hearsay. These calls, they're all hearsay.
Right.
Because
yeah,
the operator isn't saying, do you swear this under penalty of perjury? If they did,
No.
then yes, now we'd be talking about a sworn statement, and we could start talking about a warrant already just from the
Right.
call. But the thing
but if
is,
it's
now we're not talking about that because it's just hearsay bullshit. And that's how these people are getting away with all these false reports. And how the cops are just pretending like it wasn't a false report.
We have an investigation going on based on a call. You can't have an investigation until there's an injured complainant that signs a written statement.
Right.
That swears to their fucking testimony.
Their damages. Their damages.
That's right.
Not a
And
complainer, but a complainant.
Right. And yeah, okay, so let's listen to some more of this gobbledygook.
In that documentation I gave you, all the definitions are there. So I'm not coming from my own manifestation. I'm not coming from something that I want to be true or made up. I've read the definitions. I've gone through the case law. I've looked at the Supreme Court decisions. It's expressly stated in there.
So impressive.
The law is expressed, not implied. This is my understanding of it. You know, I'm a man who does no harm, and that's how I live my life. I live my life by truth and doing no harm. The law of love.
Testimony.
You know?
It's testimony, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's giving testimony.
Why would you provide? Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just why?
Well,
You're the sovereign. You're in charge, and you're trying to prove yourself.
He's explaining himself. Yeah, he is responding to redress from this cop. This cop is redressing him on the side of the road, which is not a right that the police have when they are in their official capacity.
It's not a right, but it's consensual. Now it is a right because it is consensual because this man doesn't object to being seized on the side of the road.
Right. He doesn't have any legs to stand on, man, because he doesn't comprehend how easy this all can be. Let's listen to some more of this nonsense. I don't know why, but let's do it.
I have no issues with you or anybody else, and I'm not in the doing anything wrong at this time. I've caused no loss, injury, or harm to anybody.
Now he's making it like he's trying to make it like we're just people, and unfortunately, that's not the system we live in.
No,
this is illegal. This is a legal encounter.
It's an illegal encounter.
Well, no. Well, it is.
It's illegal.
It is. It's illegal. Yes, it is. Okay, but this is a encounter which requires legal converse. A legal conversation, not a my opinions conversation.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. He is stating some facts, but he's stating them wrongly because the Supreme Court does not make laws. They make decisions, rulings, and opinions. And it will, when you look at the definition of law, it doesn't say rulings, decisions, and opinions. It doesn't say that.
Congress makes laws.
Right, Congress makes laws, not the judicial.
It's the entire country that takes part in this process of making a law, and now this cop wants to show up and be like, well, I decided that you were in violation. It's like, no, dude, we've already got laws about you don't seize me unless you got a warrant. You can't get a warrant unless there's an injured complainant. In court, I'm going to be able to face my accuser. So if you don't have one, I can get anything you come up with dismissed immediately. But, okay.
I'm taking my property from point A to point B.
Do you live in Lakewood, Denver? Where do you live, man?
I would
There's another Fifth Amendment violation.
rather not answer any questions, sir.
Okay. Do you live in the state?
No, right, because he's agreed to this conversation.
Well,
I'm sorry.
He did at least invoke his fifth there. So if the cop was like, no, I'm going to take you to jail unless you tell me where you live, then now we'd be talking about both the fourth. You're securing your
fifth.
facts, including your address. And then fifth is you don't provide information that is going to be used against you.
No, never. You never do that.
Right.
Never.
Yeah. What if they have a warrant? Nope, not even then.
No, you don't have to.
Not
You don't have
even
to.
then.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, my grandfather, the one that was a lawyer, he told me, you should never talk to the cops, but especially if you're innocent. Never talk to the cops, but more so if you're innocent. Don't say anything. Tell them that I'll talk. I remember this line from Hill Street Blues. I'll talk when my mouth gets here, pig. And he's talking about his lawyer getting there to the jail. I'm not answering no questions. Of course, he says it in a very dramatic hood kind of way, but it's still really great.
Well,
I'll talk when my mouth gets here.
What it really is that if you're a socialist, you can say anything you want. You could even admit to crimes, and you'll probably walk. And if you are not one of these socialist pigs, then you're probably going to jail. So,
yeah. Let's go on with this arcane psychopathy.
Colorado?
I'd rather not answer any questions.
Okay. Well, you're operating a motor vehicle in the
I'm not operating a motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is defined in the paperwork as a vehicle on the roadways doing commerce. This is not a commercial vehicle.
Is he proving his innocence here?
No, he's just making an inane argument.
He's providing testimony. That's really what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah, he's
you don't
talking.
have to do that.
No, we have no obligation to the cops in any kind of way to
when
talk
the
to them.
cops feel like they can arrest you, they're going to. So why would you provide any testimony to them? Because any of your testimony is only going to be used against you, and if it is used to exonerate you, then that's going to be considered hearsay.
Yep.
If you admit to a crime, they'll consider that an admission of guilt to a crime. But if you say, I was at this other restaurant across town for 2 hours, then that's just hearsay.
Right.
Until somewhere down the line in the legal process, somebody confirms that you were at this restaurant. And you'll probably get a dismissal on your case if you have a lawyer that tracks this shit down and stuff. But are you going to tell your lawyer to track that down? Are you going to,
right. You have to insist. Yeah. You have to insist on your rights no matter what. If you're pulled over, seized without a warrant. Okay. You're pulled over on the side of the road. That's being seized without a warrant. That's a crime against you. If you stand on your rights.
Well,
but you have to,
if you're filing a complaint, that is also standing on your rights, right? Because any seizure. So pulling you over in traffic every single time is a seizure. It's a crime already. It's already a deprivation of your right to travel freely. It's already however you want to call it. You can go federal. Deprivation of rights in a code of law, conspiracy against rights, because there's probably, 2 cops in the car or something, or the dispatcher. Who cares who you add into it? Add in whoever you see in the report as being culpable. But be serious about it. These are people's lives. Make sure they're guilty.
Yeah, of course. All right, let's roll this on here. I gotta say that I'm getting kind of irate with Paul at this moment because
this is super common, bro. This is typical. We would not be doing this if he was crushing, because no one crushes. Well, actually, we would do it if he was crushing, but no one crushes. So it's like we're choosing this because he's performing common mistakes. I don't know if that makes any sense.
He's okay. There's the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, and he's missing it 98% of the time here. And when he does touch on it, he's not doing it properly,
right?
Because he's not starting with the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment is where you start, man. When these cops pull you over, where's the warrant, jackass?
Or Fifth. He's talking a lot. Right?
Yeah.
Sixth. How about invoke your sixth immediately so that nothing you say can be used against you? Because you want to. I invoke my right to counsel. Sixth Amendment.
Yep. 5A and 6A together. That's
Also,
that's the guns.
How about a due process, man? Where's your warrant? Because that's both not having a warrant, but it's also due process because you're seized now.
Right, seized on the side of the road without a warrant.
You could go a million different ways, but he's going the one wrong way. Like, how are our viewers doing? Do we got any viewers?
We got 3. I think Jeff Hate Pigs is here. I don't know who else is
there. Let me take a break real quick.
You do that.
Keep them entertained. Tell them what we've been looking at.
Yeah, so we're watching Paul Unslaved, and I'm going to be real honest with you about Paul. I don't like the guy. He gives this air of poet warrior, but on the other hand, he's got this huge ego, man, which is, it's whatever. I don't have a huge ego. I don't really give a shit what people think about me. I never have. In person, disrespect me at your own hazard, but I don't have that problem because I'm actually a really cool person. I don't know Paul. All I see him do is, this. I think he's trying to be like a modern Hunter S. Thompson, and what he really is he's the show Jackass combined with Hunter Thompson plus cops. What's up, man? Oh, I'm sorry you're feeling sick. What's the matter, you? Well, you got to get back to health, man. You got to stay healthy. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to some more of Paul's ranting and raving at this cop, because that's what it is.
Nissan Maxima with no license plates.
I'm not operating. I'm traveling from point A to point B.
At this time.
Then I guess we have a disagreement in the understanding. I presented you paperwork. You've presented me nothing other than your understanding.
So my understanding
is that by definition.
What's the problem with what?
What's the problem with what he's saying right now is that he's arguing each other's understanding. And here's the problem with that is that cops don't determine.
Yeah, right. They're not the ones that determine probable cause.
Right.
They don't make reasons. What they do is they take reports, they take criminal complaints and sworn testimony of injured complainants, and they serve the resultant warrant if the judge decides there needs to be a warrant.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about, man. It's awful. As Hunter S. Thompson, the real Hunter S. Thompson would say, it's nothing but awful gibberish. It's awful gibberish.
Supreme Court rulings and the Motor Vehicle Code. You've given me nothing except what you believe to be true. So where can we go with this?
So basically, he's talking about beliefs. So he's having a religious conversation with this cop, right?
Yeah.
In reality, yeah, he's having a religious,
possibly
when you talk about
moral, possibly religious. He is making some fair points, but it's all irrelevant.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, in our conversations, it's relevant if we're just talking. But when you're talking to these cops and they've got you seized on the side of the road, understand, people, that when you get pulled over, that's a seizure. You have been arrested. It's the same thing as a seizure. Arrest, detention, pulled over, stopped, traffic stop, blah, blah, blah. Any kind of
investigative detention.
Right. Like you could be walking down the street and the cop could come up and say, well, you're suspicious. That's another instance where you got to stand on your 4A. If you don't have a warrant, then I don't owe you jack shit. And in fact, if you don't have a warrant, you're committing crimes against me. So you want to be careful, but Paul doesn't do any of that. Let's keep going, man. I want to get through this. It's driving me nuts.
Statements that I've made to you are ones that are produced in the Colorado Revised Statutes.
Can you show them to me?
On traffic law.
Can you show them to me?
I can.
Show them to me. He's
I'm
saying,
gonna grab the book right now and just open.
He's saying, show them to me. But here's the problem with that. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So he doesn't need to be shown this law. Okay? Because if the law applies to him, then ignorance on his part is not an excuse. However, if he invokes his Fourth Amendment right not to be seized without a warrant unless there's an injured complainant that swears to damages, which is going to kind of bleed into his Sixth Amendment right to face his accuser, same person, then what am I trying to say, Doc?
Well, you're trying to say there's no injured complainant. There's no warrant. There's no basis for this arrest, basically. In reality, what's happening here is a crime against Paul Unslaved. Period. Because the cop is violating his rights under the color of law and his policy, which policy is not law. Policy is not law. Anyway,
right.
let's go. I think I got that right. I'm pretty sure. I'm starting to get it, man.
It up and scroll through the pages for you.
Well, I was kind enough to have all my paperwork and things in order, and my understanding here to present to you.
You have not provided me with any proof of insurance, any driver's license, or any proof of registration.
Right. Listen, after all of this stupid crap he's given the cop, what does he want? The same stuff he wants from any other driver. And that's why I'm saying this shit is pointless.
Yeah, it accomplishes nothing.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Go ahead.
No, the cops don't care.
The paperwork that I provided to you makes those things not applicable to me because I am not doing commerce on the roadway. This
provided me 3 printouts
of the definitions of the words in the Motor Vehicle Code and the Supreme Court ruling.
Website.
Didn't you swear an oath to uphold the
Why didn't he list any laws?
Right.
Why?
Yeah, if he's got legal standing,
right.
Why doesn't he cite some of those? Why doesn't he?
Right.
Because he doesn't have it.
Right.
He's talking nonsense. His standing is the Fourth Amendment, nothing else.
Yeah,
nothing
there's
else.
Tons of Supreme Court cases that uphold it. What does it matter? There's a law. It says can't be seized without a warrant.
Right, exactly.
You're secure. It says you're secure. Person's house's papers and facts. You're secure. That's what it says. So,
yeah, which means
are
you have the right to
secure
exist.
if some guy is just like, let's see, I want to get him? No, that's not being secure.
Right. Yeah, right. That's what makes this whole interaction is nothing but criminal from the cop's part towards Paul. But Paul doesn't understand that because he's standing on this commerce bullshit. Let's roll it.
Constitution and the law of the land, the Supreme
Constitution, Supreme Law of the land.
Supreme Court is the highest law in the
Yeah. Again,
land. So that one decision that I showed you should be enough for you to either go and look at what I'm presenting again and give a deeper, more detailed look at it, or to understand that we have no interaction right now. Because like I said, there's many Supreme Court cases on file. That is the law we're supposed to follow.
No, the Supreme Court doesn't make law. It never has, and it never will.
His problem right now is that he hasn't given these cops a lawful order. That's really what it comes down to, is that, yes, he's been illegally seized. Now go ahead and give him a lawful order. Hey, you're creating a disturbance. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Right, you're interrupting my business, so get the fuck out of here. How about that?
Exactly.
This country. We can have disagreements in local court, but these have already been decided upon. The Supreme Court will hear my case as well if you guys bring charges, because I will take it there.
We will be bringing charges.
Sir, again,
for violating traffic law in the state of Colorado.
The word violation in law means to cause loss, injury, or harm. It also means to sexually advance on someone when it's unwanted. I did not do any of those things. So, again, we have to get our words and terms in line with the definitions of what we all are agreeing on here is the English language. We cannot use words and not agree on the definitions. I'm not making...
He is right, but it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant. Everything that he's saying is nonsense because it's irrelevant.
He's got rights in this situation, and he's not invoking them.
No, not even remotely. He's not even...
He's telling the truth, and I respect that, but...
It's not, there's no magic words in the gobbledygook that's coming out of his mouth. There's no magic words there. The magic words don't exist. We have the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and the Supremacy Clause, and that's what's up, man.
Those are the magic words.
Help. Yeah, we don't.
Those are the ones.
Yeah, they're not magic words. It's just the way it is. We don't need to alter anything. We're not transmuting lead into gold.
They are magic words. It's that when you say them in front of your jury, that your jury is going to be like, oh shit, he did invoke his right not to be seized unless you got a warrant, and you don't have a warrant. They are magic words, but it's that they're based on this common understanding, not gibberish, but the law, the law, like
the supreme law of the land.
We can continue.
Yeah.
Or unless you have
something. Up my own definitions.
No, I'm
the
good.
State of Colorado is a whole other discussion. And first,
no, it's not, because it doesn't matter what level you're on. If you insist on your Fourth Amendment right to not be seized without a warrant, then it's
That's
your
everywhere.
fault.
It's everywhere.
Right. No matter where you're at in this country, it applies.
You always have a right to be securing your person's house's papers and effects, unless they have a warrant.
That's right.
That warrant has to be signed by an injured complainant with sworn statement of damages, real damage, not a complainer, not these Karens. I saw a person walking down the neighborhood, not them. I
want to see them get jacked up by the cops.
Those are complainers.
Right.
They're not complainants.
Yep. Let's. This is really frustrating to me because Paul just keeps digging himself in a hole.
Furthermore, it doesn't even come into this because, like I said, any roadways federally, the people, a man, a woman has a right to use the public roadways to travel from point A to point B. It's been ruled on. You cannot have a government organization who's supposed to work for the people come in to tax the people to use what is the people's. That is fraud. You may disagree with me. I, however, have the truth, the definitions, the facts, and the case rulings on my side.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
So like I said, if you bring charges forth, I expect you to show up on the day of whatever the proceeding will be. And then I expect you to show up at the Supreme Court proceeding. And we will have a discussion in front of whoever needs to be there about what I have the right to do and not do, since you seem to believe you have a right to stop me.
Yeah, he doesn't without a warrant. This is where Paul misses his chance to stick the harpoon in
so close.
And land the fish. He really
so
is.
Close. But make it clear that it's your Fourth Amendment right not to be seized without a warrant. Make that clear. Make it. It's not hard.
No, it's not.
Just make it clear.
Not. Yeah, it just has to be enunciated, man. But he's only skimming over it.
Take up my time and take a right off me. We'll have that discussion if that's what you choose to do. I don't believe you should, because I think by conversing with me, you can ascertain that I am an upstanding, intelligent individual who's out here doing no harm, and I have no. There's really no reason to have any issues with me.
Why is that?
Because, like I said, and we can get into all other things. I don't know if you're interested in all that, but you see where our country's going, and what we're doing right here is part of the reason why. But I'm glad we're doing this, and I expected this, So it's not really an issue for me. I have to stand on what's true and what's right. I have to stand on my conviction, in my heart, and what the definitions and the understanding tells me. So that's all I'm attempting to do.
Well, I think we might have a misunderstanding upon definitions here.
Again, the Supreme Court, it's been the Supreme Court, so let's say we both didn't understand definitions. Supreme Court has heard all these cases, and the judges have ruled over and over again that the right...
Yeah, he ruled. The judges ruled. They didn't make a law. They made a ruling. A ruling. That's what ruled means.
Right. They agreed with the law that's in place that you can't be seized without a warrant.
Right. So then you stand on that, which is the Fourth Amendment, and let's go.
If you want, I can search them for you right now. The quotes: the right of the people to use the public roadways is an untaxable, uninfringible right. You cannot tax somebody, force them to get registration, force them to get insurance. You cannot force any of that. All interactions in this country are supposed to be voluntary. They're not supposed to be under coercion and duress.
Unless there's a warrant. The only time that there is, a non-consensual blah with the cop.
That's still consensual.
Well, I mean, yeah,
because
unless you fight back.
No,
sure.
If there's a warrant to seize you, what that means is that you live in a state that has this law and that you're agreeing to live under that law and that you've violated that law and now there's a warrant to seize you. Okay? So you've agreed already. And then now there's a warrant to seize you because you've already taken part in the benefits of Missouri or something. And that you've agreed by living there that's because here, look, didn't people move to America because it's a free country?
Yes.
They did. And so because of that, what they were doing is they're like, I disagree with the old guys, right?
Yeah.
And so they left.
Right.
And they were no longer under their jurisdiction.
That's right. Yep. We're Americans now. We're supposed to be free.
Do this or else, and you can't use fear and safety as a reason to take people's rights.
Okay.
Well,
my supervisor's here. If you said you wanted to talk to him.
I mean, again, it's more about what you plan on doing, because if you plan on moving forward contractually, then obviously he's going to be the one here to supervise that whole situation, and then he will be on record to go to court as well, being okay with the fact that he supervised.
Are any of those words in the Constitution?
No, none of them.
So then what the fuck is he doing?
He's talking nonsense.
Okay.
The button field for this play inside StreamYard is so fucking huge. It goes.
It's a whole other thing. I don't know if you're interested in all that. Country are supposed to be voluntary. They're not supposed to be under coercion and duress.
Yeah, this is it.
Or else, and you can't use fear and safety.
Okay, so there is always a chance that violence is going to be a problem when you talk to these cops. That's why, when you're standing on your rights, you don't want to be overly aggressive and yelling and screaming. And obviously you have the right to do that if you want, but you have to make sense to these cops. You have to make sense to them. You have to tell them, well, where's your warrant? You're supposed to have a warrant to seize me, my papers, which is my ID, or to search my car, get a warrant. Bring in a drug dog, it's not a warrant. Saying that you see something through the window is not a warrant. They can say they see whatever they want through the fucking window. Okay, you guys? How many times have people got shot when these cops say, oh, there's a gun, there's a gun, there's a gun, and then everybody else just mag dumps. Everybody mag dumps. And there's no gun. There's no gun at all. Okay? So, you don't want to provoke them. I don't think that most cops want to be violent. There are a lot of, but they have these triggers with each other, where they say certain words or they see certain things and then they go ballistic. But you have to look. Jeff hates pigs, and what's the matter? Anybody else that's watching needs to go to Kennedy Walker. He has a channel, Kennedy Walker, and watch how he does it. I have shorts on my channel of him doing it. They're not really shorts, but they're shorter versions with the parts that I thought were.
We should do a breakdown of my videos, because when you don't want to deal with this stupid crap, then you're going to want to look at the pro shit. Because what I do, guys, it's so thoroughly planned out, you would have no clue. Like, it's so planned out. Everything I do and say, the whole situation itself was planned by me. This is not, bro, I'm not walking into something I don't understand. I'm walking into something I totally understand, and I'm going to get it. But
you're like the fisherman on the bank of the river who's going for catfish. So he rigs deep, and he uses the right kind of bait, and he gets a catfish.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so, look, it's, you're not going to get your ass kicked in or get shot or get tased or whatever every single time. Yeah. Rights protectors and public prosecutors. I don't know about that. That's not a cop's role.
Hold on.
Anyway,
are you talking about a comment I can't see? You should show that probably.
Yeah. There you go.
Time's come to change the job description of the police. Give me rights protectors and public prosecutors. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That's
but you know
already
what?
their job.
They're already public servants, and the problem is with us where we don't treat them like that. We treat them like kings, and they're like, we want to put you through this metal detector. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Of course,
good
sir.
Yeah, good to see you. Let's get back on task here.
As a reason to take people's rights.
Okay.
You know?
Well, my supervisor's here if you said you wanted to talk to him.
I mean, again, it's more about what you plan on doing, because if you plan on moving forward contractually, then obviously he's going to be the one here to supervise that whole situation, and then he will be on record to go to court as well.
Do you think a contract has something to do with this interaction here?
I don't see how it does. I mean,
he swore an oath to the Constitution. Is that a contract?
That's semantics, but yeah.
You're right. It's word game bullshit.
Yeah, it's semantics. Okay.
Okay with the fact that he supervised you, stopping me, taking my time and my rights, and then telling me that I don't have a right to do what's already been ruled on I have a right to do.
Damn.
That's the only reason I wanted him.
This guy's so right that he just needs to put it into the right language.
Yeah, you're disrupting. So close.
Yeah, you're disrupting my business, which is a disorderly conduct in my state. And I have a citizen's arrest law that says I can arrest anyone for a misdemeanor, felony, or even capital, right? So
yeah. He's so close, but he's so far away that it's
close. He's close.
He just needs the right words, and this interaction could be over
here, so that we're all under the same understanding.
Sure.
Hi, how you doing, sir?
Good. Hey, I'm Sergeant Valdez. I understand your sovereign stuff and everything and all that. What do you refer to be?
Yeah, I don't.
A sovereign stuff. Okay, no, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand anything.
Living man, or how do you?
I don't even like to get into the terms and labels. No, I'm just a man.
Yeah, okay.
You know, just like you are.
Or just a man.
It's a good point to make that you don't want to get into the labels. But as far as now, he gives himself a label. I'm not sure about that part. But
yeah,
still,
I'm a man. Yeah.
Just a man. Just like you are a man. You know, you're a man, I'm a man.
Understood.
And from my understanding, again, like I told this man, was that I've done my research. I have a conviction in my heart. Okay. My mind and my logic aligns with that. Logic, morals, and ethics. This is private property. I purchased it legally and lawfully.
Understood.
And I'm taking it from point A to point B. And the Supreme Court has ruled that I do not need to register, license, or any of that unless I'm doing commerce on the roadways. I handed in the definitions. Has all the definitions there. What's in the motor vehicle?
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. But
say
if
he's doing commerce, does he still have his protected rights? Of course he does. Like,
of course
he can't
does.
be seized
Supremacy
without a warrant, such as
right. Supremacy
so
clause.
even if he is doing commerce, he volunteered to stand under something that doesn't apply to him, and that's kind of even bullshit itself, because he doesn't have to suffer the consequences of it. He's volunteered. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Code and what Black's law says, that operating motor vehicle is defined as doing commerce on the roadway.
Wrong.
I understand.
All that's wrong, because you don't look up the Black's Law Dictionary. You read the Constitution that says you can't be seized unless there's a warrant. That warrant needs to be signed by an injured complainant with a sworn statement of damages. Sworn statement, not hearsay. Sworn statement. Okay.
And so, sir, just so you know, obviously, we don't recognize that within our municipality laws.
It's common law.
And I.
It's supreme law. It's not common law.
I understand the common law and stuff.
Listen, let's address this real quick. Common law is a thing that is developed over time, and that might apply in places like England. Okay?
Right.
But
Yes.
here we have enumerated rights. So let's look at it like this. Common law went through for England, and then we broke off. Okay? And then when we broke off, we were like, okay, these are all the things we discovered in common law, that it can't just be some cop that arrests you. It has to be based off a warrant and a sworn statement. Okay, so we enumerated common law. So we don't have really common law. We have our rights, and they're the supreme law of the land. Okay, so
Right.
is common law above our rights?
No.
But that doesn't necessarily mean we don't have God-given rights that aren't listed.
Well,
And
yeah,
you
that's,
might want to call them common law, but here in America, that it just doesn't really work. Just say they're another right that we have, a Ninth Amendment right.
Sure. That are not enumerated in the Constitution, but cannot be denied to the people.
Like owning a
Right.
dog. It's a Ninth Amendment right. No,
Yep.
it's not listed. Dogs are not anywhere in the Constitution. But
No.
it's a Ninth Amendment right to own a dog.
Yep. What's the
So-
matter? You got it right away, real quick.
Yep. Good
Real
job.
quick.
Good
But
job,
our
Good,
bro.
man.
laws are,
You've been
are
listening.
obviously
He's been
not
listening.
in tune with your common law and the way it's practiced, so the court's going to have to be the one to dispute those. Do you understand the reason he pulled you over? And
Absolutely
the reason
not.
Why? Okay.
Absolutely
have
not.
you been told why you've been pulled over this afternoon?
He told me his perception, but I don't understand it at all.
Okay. And so.
But
so
why
we
don't
can-
why don't you understand? Because I can't be seized unless there's a warrant, and
Right.
so because of that, I can't understand.
Yep. There's a
And that's
reason.
an invocation that you're invoking. You're invoking your rights, and it's like kind of magic a little bit, but it's like we're citing something that means something to Americans.
Right. It's not arcane because it's enumerated and it's easy to understand.
It's not
a
obscure.
mystery.
Sure, certainly.
Yeah, it's not
The
a mystery.
arcane
It's-
aspects could be argued, but yeah, it's not obscure. It's our right. It is listed. Dude, there are a million books with this written in it.
Yep.
Freedom of speech or right to travel or all this stuff is in it.
Yep.
help you understand the perception of why you're pulled over and what he told you. What did he specifically tell you?
He believes, like a lot of officers believe, that the common law, like you just said, does not apply to them. However, this is not my common law. Common law is the law of the land. It's backed by the Supreme Court and the Constitution.
What is the officer's common law perspective on why the stop was initiated for you?
Oh, I would have no idea because common law is defined as loss, injury, or harm needing to take place in order to move forward. I did not do any of those things.
Okay.
So his corporate law or legal understanding would be that I am an employee of a corporation. I would assume this is understanding somewhere because, again, motor vehicle means a vehicle doing commerce on the roadway. Driver means someone employed by someone to do commerce on the roadway. The code even describes tractor trailer.
Yeah, I want to talk about what somebody you had to say here, because you should go to court. You should go to court, but then you should stand on your rights.
When you should go to court is when you have to, actually.
Right, if you have to. If you have to,
And
or go
then,
to prison.
If there's warrants, and he's over here invoking his right not to identify, it doesn't matter.
Right,
because he's not going to identify and prove that he's the one with the warrants. So,
right. And obviously,
I
if
don't
there's
care
no...
about warrants at all. It doesn't mean anything to me because these judges will sign warrants based on nothing. And you're going to have to fight that, certainly. But
yeah, you have to stand, man. You got to stand on your constitutional rights, and you have to issue some orders, and you have to issue some criminal. You got to write some criminal charges with complaints against these people that are wasting your fucking time, like they're doing with Paul here.
They do it a lot less. These fake warrants, they do it a lot less than just bothering a guy on the side of the road, like what they're doing with Paul. So
Yeah.
what
yeah.
you really need to focus on is how they're dealing with Paul without a warrant, as opposed to the false warrant. You can get into that once you've read a warrant that's false. And then you need to start looking into that, right?
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's go.
Taxi driver or bus driver. That's why we use the term driver. Anybody who's behind this is not a driver. A driver is defined as someone employed to do commerce on the roadway. I am not that. I am a man taking my property from point A to point B.
So what is the reason for the stop today? No plates, okay? That's a common thing that we obviously enforce and do with our laws and what we believe in and what we have to do. So the probable cause
So it's our religion to harass you for not having plates.
exists for him, not with you, in your understanding, for him to go ahead and initiate a traffic stop.
Does
based
the
on
probable
plates.
cause exist?
No, because there's no decision by a judge to
Right.
sign a warrant based on a injured complainant.
Yeah, there would
I mean,
be no doubt in anyone's mind if there was probable cause, because the judge would sign a warrant that says, I found probable cause. Here's the attached is the affidavit of probable cause, right? Which is from the complainant, the sworn victim. I'm a victim for sure. It cost me this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What's the matter? You is talking about photography and facial recognition. Yeah, all that stuff is violations. Those are violations of the 5th and 6th Amendment right there.
Well, actually, yeah, you're right. They are, and because they weren't seized without warrant, then they are actually fruit of the poisonous tree.
I was just going to say that.
You could have them thrown out in court. You should be a motion to suppress evidence, right?
Yep, motion to suppress, fruit of the poisonous tree violates this, that, and this amendment
they
under
didn't
color of law.
Have a warrant to seize this.
Yeah.
There's no search or seizure. So if they're looking through video footage for a picture, that's a search, and if they find something, that's a seizure, because they're going to save it in their document.
Right. If they have the intention of using it as evidence, it's seized. Correct.
But still, guys, just don't commit crimes. Come on, man. But still, yeah.
There's reason to believe that I'm driving this vehicle.
Well, you're operating the vehicle and driving it, and you were observed driving it.
I wasn't driving. Driving is defined as commerce. Can you read the paper?
That's true.
I understand your version of it.
No, that's the definition by Black's Law Dictionary and the Motor Vehicle Code.
We don't follow that.
The Supreme Court does. So then
we're not the feds. We don't operate under the Supreme Court.
Yes, you do. You do operate under federal law. Every police department operates under federal law.
But not
federal
the Supreme
law is
court. He
no,
was
not
right
the Supreme.
about that.
Yeah, that's nonsense. The Supreme Court is nonsense. Yeah, it's rulings, decisions, and opinions. That's all.
What it is that the cops don't operate under federal. So if they're trying to seize you without a warrant, then what they're doing is they're operating in federal law, and they can't.
Yeah, they lose all their standing. Cops lose all their standings when they don't have a warrant. But okay, let's go.
Yeah, but you swore an oath to uphold the law of the land and the Constitution. The Supreme Court is the highest law of the land.
No,
it's not the highest law of the land. The Supreme Court makes rulings, decisions, and opinions. They do not make laws.
Well, Doc, what is the supreme law of the land?
Well, the supreme law of the land is the Constitution.
And
period.
Then what? And then also the amendments.
The amendments.
And then
the Bill of Rights, and then everything else. Federal law
is under, and then state law is under federal, and then under
local
that
law
is local. And as long as none of these guys are violating your higher laws, then sure, they can make a law.
Yeah, exactly. As long as it isn't counter or repugnant to the Constitution, then it has standing. If not, it's nothing. It's illegal, and it could be considered an act of war or an act of treason. Well, an act of war is an act of treason.
An easier prove is conspiracy, because it's a conspiracy against your rights.
Absolutely, it's a
Which
conspiracy.
holds
This is under a
just as
municipality, and ours is under the Jefferson County division. So you'd have to go to the Jefferson County for anything. Has he issued you any ticket or done anything?
No, sir.
Well, exactly. So we're in a common state here of just talking about the
Sure.
situation, and that's it. And you're being cordial, and you're
And that's a good thing, because we need to have these discussions.
Well, that's it. And so that's what he's discussing with
Sure.
you. So understanding your beliefs and what you think aren't necessarily ours, because what we have to practice a certain thing, there's an understanding there. I hope you know that. Obviously, we pulled you over because we don't have the same understanding of what your understanding is.
This
of the
dude
law.
talks
You
like
understand
a
that?
lawyer.
As long as we have a common
Yeah. This cop he's got diarrhea of the
Bro,
mouth, man.
Well, what it is that he has a pretty thorough understanding. He really does.
You would think, yeah.
No,
You would think
he
so.
does. He does. He knows way more than they ever let on, actually.
Yeah.
Dude,
it seems like
He knows
it
some
seems
shit.
like he does. Underlying, he understands.
Back up 5 seconds and let's listen to it.
understanding your beliefs and what you think aren't necessarily ours, because what we have to practice a certain thing, there's an understanding there. I hope you know that. Obviously, we pulled you over because we don't have the same understanding of what your understanding is of the law. Do you understand
Weird.
that? As long
Bro, dude, it's so weird. It's like this. It's straight like obfuscation.
Yeah, it's what they do. They talk in circles while they're waving their hands around, doing their satanic invocations.
as long as we have a common agreement on that, I'm good. You're going to have your
What is an agreement? Is that even a fucking word? I guess
it
yeah,
means
I mean, I guess,
agreement.
sure.
I would say
Sure, it could
just
be.
Whatever.
What's yours?
definition of it is, we're going to have what our obligations are.
But what
Whether-
is yours based on?
So ours is based on Colorado revised statutes and traffic codes that we are to enforce. That's what ours is
The
based
term
on.
trafficking means to take goods from
And
one
I-
place
hold
to
on, I
another.
understand that.
Hold on. He's wanting to argue fucking definitions. But
Right.
he should be telling him, no, you took an oath to uphold the laws of the United States of America. That
Yep.
includes my right not
Yep.
to be seized. So I'm free to go. Honestly, and now you're creating a disturbance. I'm going to have to ask you to leave too.
Or
Get the hell
place
outta
you
here.
under arrest. Yeah, exactly.
Why drug
under-
trafficking is defined as
I
taking
understand
drugs
that.
from one
Yeah,
place to the
I
other. I'm
understand.
not trafficking anything.
But by
I'm
our-
traveling, sir.
Listen, by our standards and our Colorado revised statutes, you are an operator of a vehicle operating a motor vehicle. This is a
Well,
motor vehicle.
what's higher,
And
Colorado revised statute or the law?
The law of the land under the Supremacy Clause, the
Yeah.
Fourth Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, and we could argue several more.
And
This has all been extremely simple, but he's
Yeah.
making it hard.
He's making it into this, and he's like stretching a rubber band, and is it going to hit the cops or is it going to hit him? Who's it going to hit?
sit and I
Right.
could have coffee with you, and I'd love going into this stuff. But I'm just telling you the way it is and how it works for us. And that's what he's trying to tell you is the reason why you was pulled over and all that stuff. And you said, I'm just a man, I appreciate that and stuff like that. If he's asking you for identification, you don't want to give it, I understand why you're not wanting to give it and why you believe that you don't have to give it and stuff. If he were to ask you, what would you
No, because Paul doesn't understand why he doesn't have to get it.
Well, this
the cop don't understand.
This cop is bending over backwards not to violate his rights.
Right, he's begging for Paul to be the master.
Bro,
Just
this is why I disagree with just treating every cop like a piece of shit. Because listen to him, man. He'll give you every chance in the world to invoke your rights.
Just like Hughes from the Bronson video, Officer Hughes. Man,
Right.
I would love to get him to come on and live stream with us. I just want to pick his brain because he's obviously patient and he's a thoughtful man. He's not stupid. Those cops gave Chuck and Patrick all the time in the world to pass their citizenship, just like these cops are giving Paul all the time in the world to pass their citizenship test, to pass his citizenship test.
Yep.
And he's failing at it, just like Chuck and Patrick did.
your name be given by the corporation or the land, as far as government is what we see as government, would you have a legal name under that? What would be your false name that you be giving, which would be the government name that we go to that would be given to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you're comfortable in providing that with him, that's what he wants.
Yeah, I'd rather not provide anything, because again, once I provide any kind of information, I'm contracting with him.
Understand.
And I would rather not contract with him. Again, this, first of all, again, we can go back to you guys' rules. Those red and blue lights are not to be pulling people.
And he's right again. He's right. Depending on state law, there has to be an emergency. Show me the dead bodies and the mayhem, the fire, the crash. Show me that before you put on your lights.
Is he contracting, though?
No, he's wrong about that.
Answering their questions. I think he might be wrong about that.
He's not
positive.
No, he's not contracting. He is a cooperative. He's collaborating with them against himself by talking.
It's not collaborating because it's not willful. It's under duress.
Huh.
I don't think it's collaborating because it's not willfully taking part in their crimes. It's like,
yeah, you're correct. But he is, unfortunately, complying to a point by talking to them in the first place. I don't know if he's
failing.
Getting anywhere.
What is he failing, Doc?
He's failing to stand on his Fourth Amendment, first of all, and his Fifth Amendment. He's not standing.
Good job.
He's not standing for anything, man. He's not standing on his rights. He's not invoking his rights, and that's what he should be doing.
14th Amendment due process, where they don't need a warrant to come and fuck with him. They don't need to have a reason. He just lets them. He'll just.
Yeah, he lets them do it.
Yeah, but so he's failing, though. His citizenship test is kind of what I was getting at. He's got these rights.
Exactly. Yeah, he has those rights. They can't be.
He's not doing bad. He's getting like a B or something.
Yeah,
but he is better.
He is doing better now. At the beginning, it was a lot of nonsense, but now he's sort of getting close.
Those are emergency lights. They're to be used for people to move over so they can move past. Just by me pulling over, I have submitted to something that I know is incorrect, because the purpose of those lights are emergency lights. They're not for pulling people over. So I did so because I understand that in today's day and age, that if I do.
Oh my God, in today's day and age, I want to just bitch slap the next person that says that.
Do not do that, and I go like this and say, go ahead, which is what it actually tells you should do when a policeman pulls up behind you and the regulation says, roll down your window, pull over, and wave him on. I did not do that, because then he'll say, you were trying to. I understand the psychology of how most officers think. I understand.
You complied and you pulled over and stuff, and that's
Yeah, you complied.
Because I want this interaction.
Well,
I want the interaction one way or the other. We have to get it on record.
Have you interacted like this in a court of law already?
I would rather not get into that.
Understood, but I'm just, and if you have,
I have a lot of experience in a courtroom and with the material.
Perfect. And so with that being said and stuff, I just want you, so we're not wasting time and being naive on understanding all this stuff. You're an educated man. You understand what your beliefs are. We have our certain rules that we have.
They're not my. Can we just say? I don't mean to be. I'm not being a dick. They're not my beliefs, sir. It's a knowing that.
It's not my religion. It's not my religion.
I've come to based on eternal truth. This truth is not going to change whether you understand.
Your heart.
It's a conviction. It's a conviction. The same thing the court will have to use to either convict me or not, because it rests in my heart and it cannot be changed by any other man's belief. A belief and a conviction are two very different things.
I understand. I understand. And you hold it true to yourself.
But beliefs and convictions are personal. That's not something that you project.
You know what I like about this is that you're getting into the psychology of the cops. They don't give a fuck, dude. They don't want you in a cage. They don't want you in a cage. They want you to not be a bitch.
Yeah.
They want you to not be so fucked up that you tell them you're on meth. Okay? Because if you're so fucked up that you're just like, yeah, I'm on meth and I just drove over the curb, then they're going to put you in jail, stupid.
Right, which is right where you probably belong. let's face it. There are people in our society who deserve to be in cages. I can name in several instances people that are in cages that do not belong there, but we're not going into that.
Half of them admit that they've done some seriously heinous shit.
Oh, absolutely, man.
It's
absolutely.
Like totally insane what these people admit. It's like they're not even concerned in the least bit about trying to get off or something like that. Like,
right, they're almost begging. They're almost like begging to go to jail. Let's go on with Paul here. We're getting so close to the end.
Absolutely, I live by certain morals, logic, and ethics that I hold myself to at all times.
What he's talking about is truth, way, and life.
I hope he is, but you know what?
He is.
He hasn't done a good
words.
job of invoking even his right not to be seized. So you got to remember that there's something about this dude that's not quite right. Even though he is doing okay, but there's something about him that's not right, guys.
Paul is a little bit tilted. Wasamata says some are crying out for help. Yeah, some of them that admit to this bullshit and they want to get some help. Or maybe they figure they're better off in jail for a few days or whatever. But but they're still begging to go to jail. They're still begging to go to jail.
Probably not in their desires, but within their actions. Yeah, it's going to jail.
Yep. Okay, so let's roll the tape.
Belief in the Constitution.
Not a belief. I have a knowing that the Constitution is codified based on universal.
No, it's not codified. It's a state.
Hold on. What?
Say
what you're saying.
To me, code is statute and federal statute.
No, code means it's written down. Really.
Okay. All right. I can go with that. Again,
codified
semantic.
is how I pronounce it, but codified, it means that it means that it's been written down and established that
it's enumerated.
That we created these edicts. We created these sayings or this is the way it is, and we're coming up with that. And this is one that we all agreed on, maybe, codified.
Yeah. Well, the Supremacy Clause and the Constitution. Yeah. Okay.
Well, as long as you're invoking the rights that stand above the other,
right, the other unconstitutional crap. It
doesn't matter if it's codified or if it's fucking regulated or if it's stipulated or it's because
it's all bound.
The law. It's the high law. So understand that much. I don't know much more.
Yeah, let's go.
No man has the right to rule over any other man. That will always be a truth since the day we came here to the day we die, because it is illegitimate and is based on coercion, duress, and force.
So you have a knowing.
I have a knowing. It is unchanging. I am the same yesterday as I am today as I will be tomorrow.
Okay, and I hope you can respect that. Obviously, we have a knowing and understanding.
You have a belief system that you are adhering to, and it is not in line with truth, sir.
It may not be in line with your truth. But
no, the truth is unchanging. You have your perspective, I have my perspective.
Well, that's just it. That's a difference.
By us conversing, we come to one truth.
Absolutely.
And that truth is unchanging.
We may not come to an agreement on the truth, but we will come to a truth.
The universe has one truth that we all must come to understand. If we don't, we will suffer consequences, individually and together.
I appreciate your cooperation and understanding with it. You've been more than pleasant to deal with on it, and I've dealt with many people that have the same understanding of things as you do and stuff like that. So let me talk to my officers and see what the plan is here and stuff, and I appreciate your cooperation.
I appreciate you, sir. You've been cordial with me. You had a good rapport with me, and you haven't been forceful in any way.
I got no reason why. So thank you for your cooperation. Give me 1 second, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, we know one thing. He's not in Aurora, because the Aurora cops would have pulled him out and cuffed him and beat him up.
I'm not sure that we know that.
The only way to figure it out is to test it somehow.
Bro, for some reason, this fucking cop just started bending over goddamn backwards. And you're not realizing that there's a reason for that they've all been taught. And it's that they don't have a qualified immunity once somebody starts standing on their rights. And even though this guy doesn't really do it right, he did it. And that's better than nothing.
So how would you refer to? Would you refer to me as Mr. Valdez or just a man? So I know from my education.
Mr. Valdez.
I don't expect you to say Sergeant Valdez or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
like
even
that.
a judge, right? Like any man, once you take it out of the, a man has
Pause
duties
this.
and responsibilities.
Pause this. I brought up the Constitution and B of R's to
Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights to Paul and his sidekick Timothy yesterday. They asked why I worship those old men who wrote it and muted me to laugh and rant about that for a while. Okay, so the reason that we worship those old men who wrote it is because people agreed to it. There were 13 to start with, and now we're 50.
Yep.
So that didn't happen because these old men were retarded, but because they included things that were important to people with the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. And so that's why we worship them like religious figures. Essentially, yeah, we do. What? Is that a problem? They ask why I worship. No, I mean, it's not a problem, okay? That's what we do. Like, that's fine. That's good. That's good. Because they included the stuff that would prevent us from ever being enslaved like idiots.
Right. Exactly. And in order to not be slaves, we got to stand. We got to brave, and we got to be brave, and we got to enunciate and invoke and stand right there on our rights and do what masters do.
And hey, tell us how many minutes we're into this video.
We're 1 hour and 51 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Is that the record? No, that's the recording. How many
That's the
minutes
live time.
are we into the video itself without our commentary?
21.
Okay. 21 is right on the outside of being acceptable. You need to issue some lawful orders basically immediately. Hold somebody accountable when they fail it with citizens arrest. We're talking by the time you get into 10 minutes that if they want to stand in front of a judge with you, then they're going to be the defendant. That's really where you need to be.
All right, become the complainant. Write a criminal complaint, issue warrants, criminal complaint with damages, sworn testimony, get a warrant for their arrest, drag them into court.
Yeah, possibly arrest them yourself. Check your citizens arrest statutes.
Yeah, this is what's the matter you?
They
He's saying
had
they had
insight because they lived through human rights violations by the Red Coats.
Absolutely right.
Exactly.
Absolutely right.
That's why they were so on point. Where it's just like, we know the Red Coats did this, so now we want to. Now you're secure unless they have a warrant. It needs to be signed by a judge based on an injured complainant sworn statement of damages, and that way, we can be sure.
Yeah, what's the matter you nails it right on the head, man. That's exactly how they came up with it. Yeah, it's all good, what's the matter? You got it right. You got it all right, man.
Okay, let's continue on.
Right? So one of those duties and responsibilities would be acting as someone.
Sure.
Right? So a judge is acting as a judge, but he is a man first.
If you're employed in whatever you do, what's your trade and what do you do that's your specialty as far as employment? Would you be referred to your title of employment? So if you were a DJ or something at a club?
Absolutely not.
So how do you?
Absolutely not, because that is an ability to respond. That is a responsibility that I take on in order to generate currency in this realm. But who I am and what I am is even beyond a man, because the man is I'm only taking temporary possession of my physical body.
But how?
Okay, now he's talking metaphysics. He's losing me there. I mean, I get it, but that shouldn't be part of the conversation.
Why does he have an excuse not to answer his question? Why doesn't he just in focus right not to answer questions?
Right. I don't get
Instead,
it.
he's coming up with this explanation. He's answering to him.
He's answering
Don't do
requests.
that. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Don't answer to him. If they want to know it, it's not so it can help you, shithead.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know where the cop's going. We'll see.
How do you end up doing it? Like, how would you classify your job title and stuff like that?
Yeah.
This guy's distracting me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. If you had a job title, like, how would you classify yourself in a job title? To work, if you do you work?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so you do work and you get U.S. currency and all that stuff like that. And
You get your socialist compliance coupons.
Yeah, but you don't have to answer these things. He
No,
answers
none of these
to
things.
them. Listen, you answer to your boss. Do people know that? If it's not
Right.
your boss, you don't fucking answer to them, stupid. Like, okay? So is this
Yeah,
guy is his boss? And if you answer to him, you're saying yes.
Yeah, I'm not the master. You're not the servant. Now everybody's confused.
Now
Just
you're
go
in
ahead.
charge, and your
Yeah, just go ahead
questions
and-
matter.
Yeah, just go ahead and throw me in a cage because I don't deserve to be free.
you have to pay taxes. And
Oh, I don't
stuff
get
like
into all that. I'm not going to get into all that.
Regardless
Good job.
of that, if you have a title, do you
Yeah.
have to put a title? If you go to apply for a job, do you have to adhere to that
No,
title?
I mean, that title, while I'm operating under that,
Listen to this.
what would be the word here?
But like
in that
if you-
capacity,
if
when
you
I'm
work for a
operating,
company, though.
yeah, when I'm on their clock and
Yeah.
I'm
That's
taking
the
money
problem.
from them
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
commerce, right? If I'm employed on the roadways, then I'm classified as a driver. So you would refer to me as a driver. But if I'm not taking money to do a service, then I have no classification or title. Which
We
Well,
just-
I
I,
asked you about it.
We just watched Chili provide testimony against himself. And this guy here is doing the same shit.
Yeah, he's
What are
feeding.
you doing?
He's giving the cops more information to build that movie that runs in their head that makes him a criminal. That's what he's doing.
Like if you
Yeah.
were a DJ at a club and stuff, and you were taking money from.
I'm DJ.
from a club.
I'm
You're the
DJ jerk off.
Yeah,
you know,
DJ whoever.
on
DJ
Friday
man.
night when I'm taking money and I'm in the club, but I'm still a man first, right?
Okay.
Like I'm acting as a DJ, just like we're all acting, you know, in the world, like Shakespeare. Says, you know, all the world is the stage, we're all players upon it.
I understand.
You know.
Okay, so you cover your VIN for the purposes of no identification and stuff like that, right?
Well, I
Is that
just,
why you-
I just
why
know
you
the,
cover it?
I just know the whole routine, and I know that there's always going to be
Listen
some
to how
inroad
much
into trying.
answering he does with his bro. No wonder the servants are confused.
Yeah, you're just like Hughes when we watched with Chuck Bronson. Hughes is confused not because he's an idiot, but because Patrick and Chuck are spewing nonsense.
They keep providing information. Patrick ended up providing positive ID and got taken away on a warrant.
Yeah, I mean that's not a win. That's not destroying corrupt cops or stupid cops.
That's
Those
getting your
cops weren't
ass kicked
stupid.
like amateurs, and that's the best of them too. Long Island
yeah.
audit. Oh my goodness, 400,000 subscribers. Are you fucking stupid?
And he just got a ticket the other day for illegal window tint. Let's
He'll
roll
get
some more.
any ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this.
Trying to build a case, and this vehicle is not stolen. This vehicle's not reported stolen. There's no reason to believe I'm not the owner of it, so I don't believe that anybody has the right to.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, for us to not the ignition's not punched. You cooperated. You pulled over. Those are uncharacteristics of somebody who's stolen a vehicle and stuff like that. But I mean, through, and I don't want to get into semantics for us, but through our beliefs of what we have and stuff as far as.
He doesn't want to get into semantics, but they've been in a semantics conversation for the last 23 minutes.
Well, has anyone cited a high law?
No, none of them. He touched on
Laughable.
5A for like like he touched on 5A for a millisecond,
Oh,
but he
did
never
he?
enunciated it. So fuck him.
He's
It doesn't
making
matter.
it a guessing game.
It has to be licensed.
Yeah, he's playing tiddlywinks with these cops, and the cops are doing it because they're lonely or they're bored or whatever. But
They are doing their due diligence not to get sued, and they know way more than my cops do. Holy shit, man, my cops walk right into it. This guy here is trying to make a stand where he's not quite gonna step in it. And since Paul can't invoke any of his rights anyway, it's actually pretty easy.
yeah, this
LIA is always saying, you need rest. Then cops are like, okay, this feels reasonable to me. And go hands on. Yeah, they do. Reasonable.
that's
Right.
100% right on. What's the matter?
Reasonable.
Because you gotta RAS and know what crime have I committed. We saw what that did for Carolina in Fort Worth. It got her slammed on the pavement. What crime? Oh, wait a minute. Boom. She's on the concrete, and then she's in the hospital.
Oh, she couldn't even figure out the 15 decibels because it was like, or syllables. I mean, because it's like this huge statement: reasonable, articulable, articulable, arfregable, suspicion of a kiss, or even a cuddle. That's what I do with my dogs.
Yeah, you're right about Long Island Audit. He asks for it most of the time. He's doing it wrong. They're all doing it wrong.
But then they try and do criminal complaints. It's like, dude, this is not a different system with them. They're Americans. If they're committing crimes against you, that's a crime.
Yeah. Crimes are
I don't
crimes,
know how else
no matter
to
what.
say it. It's like
crimes are crimes.
It's
all
right in its definition. Right. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Is registered, all the stuff that you already know and stuff what our beliefs are and what we practice and what we adhere to.
Religions,
present, all that stuff that we have.
There also is officer discretion on all these things.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
if I provide you with an understanding.
No, there is no officer discretion. Because the law is equal protection under the law. It's the 14th Amendment. So there is no officer discretion. If an injured complainant files a sworn statement of damages, then that needs to be go through due process all the way. Where the judge is going to find probable cause if there's damages, and if the sworn statement includes those. The cop has no discretion whatsoever because he's not a complainant. A complainant has discretion.
They can take up or drop charges. It's up to the complainant. Absolutely. Okay, let's.
That, leads you to a deeper understanding on your end of what I'm out here doing, and I'm not causing any loss, injury, or harm, then...
No, you've been more than cooperative with me, and that's why they called me over here and stuff so I could talk to you about this, because I'm also fascinated by all this stuff, too.
And that's a good thing, man. It's great to see...
Well, I want to educate myself on it.
But that's the thing. You say it like it's common sense. I've dealt with a lot of officers, and they'll tell me, listen, I don't even care what the truth is. And they'll tell me, you seem like a smart guy, just do as you're told. I didn't even do that with my own parents. I'm not going to do that with anybody in this realm. I do what the truth leads me to an understanding.
Unofficial
What
narrative.
the fuck is that?
I don't know. I've never seen this before. So, sorry, guys.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
And he was just
do as you're told.
We hear semantics for us through our belief.
Well, if I'm employed on the roadways, then I'm classified as a driver. So you would refer to me as a driver. If I'm not taking money to do a service, then...
See, what Paul did right there from a marketing standpoint is fucking brilliant, because now everybody's going to be like, what's unofficial narrative? What's that about? That was brilliant. That was brilliant. He probably cut out just a little bit of nonsense, or maybe it was...
Well, here's what I want to talk about is that every word out of his mouth is not the law.
It's not. It's not.
If you want to be right, for sure, cite the actual law. Like, what? Duh. Like, hold on. What was that comment? So basically, what?
that was a good one, and I just got that. Okay, right. Like, yeah. Okay, maybe that's what he was doing when he cut out that unofficial narrative. He does seem to flatter this cop a little bit. He is patting him on the ass a couple times.
Well, if he
verbally.
gets away with no license plate, then it's still a win, I'm saying.
It
Actually, let's see how it turns out.
I'm digging your participation today, Wilson, out of you. You're making some good points, man.
I have no classification or title. Which
well, that's why I asked you
know,
about it. Like, if you were a DJ at a club and stuff, and you were taking money from
I'm DJ.
from a club.
I'm
You're the
DJ jerk off.
Yeah,
DJ on Friday night when I'm taking money and I'm in the club, but I'm still a man first, right?
Okay.
Like,
What
I'm
the hell?
acting as a DJ, just like we're all acting.
Why is he saying it again?
Why is he providing any testimony? It's the real.
Well, it's probably
not
fictional. It's probably fiction. He's probably just making some shit up.
Well,
I think I went too
so
far
what?
back.
Even if it is fictional, why? These are your servants, and you're the one that's confusing them because you answer to them.
Yeah, and that confuses the servant. Absolutely.
The world is a stage. We're all players upon it.
I understand.
Okay.
Hey, those are lines he used way back here. What the fuck is this?
Shakespeare, I think, said that.
Yeah, he cited it earlier in the video.
Me, and that's why they called me over here and stuff, so I could talk to you about
If you ever want to get together on personal time, just to make sure it's not.
that. And he's been more than cordial with this stuff. I asked him to get the VIN at least off the vehicle so we could document the VIN on the vehicle, and that's all I asked him to do. But you have the VIN covered up, so that's why he was looking for the VIN, and that's all I was telling him to do. And he was just going to cut you out of here and get you out of here and stuff.
Okay.
So that's what he wanted to do, and if you're good with it, that's what I'd like him to do.
I
is
have
just
my
grab the
VIN
so we can
covered
get you out of here and
too.
get you on your way. And if you'd like my business card, I'll give you my business.
Yeah, like some cops like to say, well, that's against the law. Meh, show me.
No, that's not.
How is it?
That's not.
Yeah,
what
it
is.
can't. Right. Yeah, it's an identification. Therefore, it's protected under the Fourth Amendment. Correct.
And
I mean, it's our property.
It's all. Yes, our identity is our effects, certainly, and then it's also you don't have to provide information that will be used against you. It's the Fifth Amendment right, and
Right.
even
Yep,
if they
yep.
have a warrant, you still don't have to. That's why it's in two different.
Yep.
Business card, and more than happy to do
Now,
that.
am I
You're
obligated
open.
to do that?
No, I'm asking you. That's all I'm asking you.
Oh,
You're
asking,
personally asking me.
I'm personally saying if you're good with
Yeah,
it,
that's
if you
different.
can do the VIN and get my officer out of here, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, and what's
That's
the
up to you,
reason
my
for
man.
that? Just to make sure it's not
Hold
a stolen
on.
vehicle.
That's all I want
What's
to do. And
the
I
reason?
don't
What's the reason legitimate?
Right, it's-
Or do you need to start telling these officers what to do?
This is where Letz's comment comes in and is absolutely appropriate to the conversation. Unwarranted reasonableness is unreasonable. And you know
Right.
why that's true? Because the word warrant is in that little
Unwarranted
sentence there.
is not reasonable because the judge determines reason.
Right. The cop does not
Right.
determine reasonable anything. He's not even really expected to be a reasonable person in his capacity. He's not.
He
Obviously.
serves warrants.
Right. He serves warrants and
He
apprehends
shuffles
actual criminals.
paperwork and then he serves warrants. Those are his jobs.
Yeah, it's not
That's it.
supposed to be excitement on tap every day you go to work as a cop.
like I told you, you're being more than cooperative. You pulled over, which is not common, and the fact that it's not punched or anything else like that. And I understand what your practice.
Now, typically, I just stick with, I don't comply with anything that I'm not obligated to. Because as a man, you're asking me
That's
to do you a
news to
favor
me.
to make sure this vehicle's not stolen, I will do so. However,
What's news to you?
That he doesn't comply with anything. Because aren't we about a fucking hour into this bullshit where he's just answered
Right.
to them and submitted to any questioning, submitted to any fucking nonsense that they ever want to come up with. He never
okay,
gives them a lawful order to,
Right.
you're creating a disturbance. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. He never
Yep.
provides any threat. I'm going to place you under arrest for disorderly conduct.
Hey, Kennedy, for a minute, I'm going to hand things over to you. I need to make a nature call. I'll be right back, you guys.
So throughout the entire interaction, it's just been one submission after another. And it's like, if you honestly, man, I look at this like a video game where you can pass the level by screwing everything up as long as you don't die, right? But if you're going to get a bronze or a gold or a platinum star, then you're going to need to actually get it exactly right. And that is, you don't answer questions. You, what? Do you, isn't everyone familiar with this concept of like, you have a right to remain silent? Hey, I also have a right to free speech. Yeah, that's true. You got both rights. Why is that? It's hopefully that you never forget that you're the one in charge around here. But we all forget it, and he is going to get off with this. It doesn't take much. I mean, the guy didn't invoke any of his rights, and he's going to get off with this whole not driving with a plate or probably no insurance, right? Maybe no license. We don't know. Hopefully. Do we know that? I'm hoping he hasn't given over an expired license or something, but no, I don't remember that coming up. So hopefully at least he understood he was securing his documents and didn't provide a expired license or something. You don't want to give a license at all because it's like you're giving your billing address, your billing information, and then later you want to be like, they're billing me. Why? It's like the magazine salesman, where when you give them your credit card and stuff, expect that you're going to be getting a charge somewhere on your credit card. So as long as we're the ones that are going to go for this, then it's going to be an issue. But as soon as we can stop paying these lizard priest mega churches and these politicians so that they can gain office, why the hell would you give a shit? I never understand that part when I'm watching the presidential elections and like all these people gave all this money to advertise these different people. Why do you care? Well, crime. That's why. Because they're going to be getting some socialist contract. So who's going to have the most advertising? Trump. I can't even believe Trump. You guys are going to vote for him like idiots. Dude's like a new Hitler. And you guys are getting ready to vote for him. So as long as you're going to go for it, though, it's going to work out the way you are setting in motion. So, Doc?
As a man, if something comes to that after what you just told me, because you are going to cut me loose, you're not going to give me any summonses.
I'm not going to pull you out of a car. I'm not going to take you to Jefferson County Jail. I'm not going to do anything.
You're not going to give me any tickets or any summonses?
No, we're not. We're just going to grab the VIN.
Okay.
If you're good with that.
That's fine.
Are you okay with my card?
Sure.
All right.
Why is that
And
fine?
if you ever want to get...
Why is that fine? Why is every word he says objectionable? That's my question for you, Doc. Why don't you tell people what the answer is? I'll be right back.
Well, the answer is the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, possibly the 14th. We'll go ahead and talk about the First Amendment too, I guess, but it's mostly the Fourth Amendment. We don't owe those cops anything unless they have a warrant. We owe them nothing. The Fifth Amendment protects us from incriminating ourselves, gives us the right to shut our mouths up entirely. The police, the government, nobody can coerce us to talk if we stand on the Fifth Amendment. They may hold us in contempt and try to punish us for that, but eventually that's going to be part of an appeal. That's going to get the conviction or the decision or the ruling or the opinion overturned. So, Fifth Amendment. The less the conversation with the cops should be a negative value. It should never go above 0. Never go above 0. It should always be a negative number. Unless you're standing on your rights. And that's not giving them anything that's going to incriminate you. What it's given them is notice that they're possibly getting ready to commit crimes against you because they're violating your rights. And every time any of your rights is violated, it's a crime. It's a crime, period. People think, well, the Constitution isn't really a thing because it protects the government. No, it doesn't protect the government. It protects we, the people. That's why the government hates it so much, because it doesn't give them anything. It doesn't give them anything except the warrant process and the process of justice. It rules out most of what judges and courts do today. Most of it's unconstitutional, period. But, unless we stand on our constitutional rights, they don't exist. They're never going to assume that you're a citizen, that you're actually an American, until you can prove it by standing on your rights. That's the citizenship. I know Let's is gone, but oh well. Yeah, I don't understand why Paul would even show them the VIN number. He's not obligated to do that without a warrant. It was a request. It wasn't an order, because it can't be an order. Cop knows that.
Wish I heard that, but I'll see it when I'm publishing it. That's what Timmy said in Paul's show yesterday. They think the Constitution is only for the government. Bro, they have some fucking weird concepts over there. Paul, look, we've gone over about 100 errors here. And which, to me, bro, I don't know what you're used to dealing with, but to me, like, a person that can't get everything right is not the leader.
No.
The leader means that you're getting every bit of it right. Not that you're getting every bit of it wrong, and then you happen to pull away from the situation.
Out of pure luck.
Well, it wasn't pure luck. People go to jail for this, and I appreciate what he did here.
But he got real close, man. He got real close. But thinking that the Constitution is not a polite suggestion. It is the law of the land, regardless of what Paul thinks about it.
If he had Officer Kruger, he would have got his ass beat here. And it's because it became very, like, argumentative. It became very much, like, belief-based. And it became, like, bro, invoke your fucking rights. Like, don't act like this shit is, like,
It's not a game. It's not a game. We're not playing a game. This is for keeps, man. You think that Carolina...
game. A guessing game. Specifically, a guessing game.
Right.
Where it's like, make you figure out what the hell I'm trying to say. No, dude, just come on, man. They're at work.
Yeah, make it plain and simple.
They're at work. Make it so it makes sense. Do it fast. Do it in a hurry. Give them some lawful orders. Proceed about your day. Let them go after some criminals. Don't you get it? Like, bro, we're all paying for this.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We're not done yet. Let's go.
I've got
on personal time
I'll be right
and have
back.
a conversation, I'm
All
more
right.
than open and willing to do that. As a matter of fact, I look at it as a duty and a responsibility as an American to educate or to help, not even educate, I don't want to bring it to an ego thing, but to bring more understanding together to who and what we are doing here. You know, what our shared role in being Americans is.
That is a statement that I can get 100% behind. If they didn't think what somebody you just said. You know, if they didn't think that, then I would 100% be behind him on this. But, you know, any American that thinks the Constitution is a polite suggestion or that it's just a quaint writing by some old geezers with wooden teeth, you know, 400 years ago or 300 years ago or whatever, you know, it's not the case. The Constitution is inalienable. The Supremacy Clause makes it above every other law in the land. It's technically the Constitution of the planet Earth. If you read it, it could be considered the Constitution of the planet Earth. Therefore, everybody on this planet has a right to due process, has freedom of speech, has the right to bear arms. Yeah, the whole Reed's Black Law Dictionary with me, that, you know, I've gone to that in cases in my past, so I shifted the economic penalty onto someone else, to a company that sold me a car that had tint that was too dark. That's the best instance I can give you. In my state, it's their responsibility to make sure that the vehicle 100% complies to the equipment standards of the state of Ohio, and it didn't. So I shuffled that economic responsibility onto the company that sold my wife that car. I don't like tinted windows because they're a bone of contention and they make cops nervous. And, you know, I don't want to get shot because some cop is nervous, you know? So yeah, you know, I don't know what to say. Black's Law Dictionary can come in handy when you're doing pro se work and you may have actually done something wrong. For sure, it's going to come in handy. However, you know, it almost always comes down to the Fourth Amendment. And if there is no warrant, then everything that's in that trial is fruit of the poisonous tree. Period. All of it. The charges, the proceedings, it's all okay. Fall back on Chili's case, all right? They never one time, yeah, you got it right. You got it right. Absolutely. It's right. Yeah, it's not an American thing. It's a humanity thing. It's a planetary constitution. It's the planetary constitution. And if we could get everybody in the world excited about that concept and actually practicing it, wow, things would change, huh? Yeah, I don't know what Paul. I believe that most of this interaction, if he gets away with this without a ticket, it's luck. It's luck. He got a cops that appreciated his sales pitch, and they let him keep doing it. But yeah, the Constitution is planetary. It's not just American.
Did you read his comment? It is the law of the world, whether honored by any governments, parents, community, etc., or not law of humanity. The supreme law is our Constitution, and it goes for all men everywhere.
Yep, it's planetary. It is planetary. It could be even on the moon or on Mars.
It is the newest description of human rights, but I know that the World Court, like at The Hague, I believe, maybe, possibly, came up with a list of human rights. But essentially, human rights are our Constitution.
Socialist.
Well,
yeah, those people,
you know,
maybe they're not.
Some people are trying to do their job. You always got to realize that they are just trying to do their job. And then there's people that are using the public as tax cattle to fund their little side projects so that they can make an extra $200,000 a year or whatever.
Check this out. What's the matter? You are on point as fuck today, man. On point. On point.
The other day he was in the chat when I was looking at it, and he was like, "These guys are stealing from us," and Timmy was like, "What's the definition of theft, bro? Extortion is theft." So
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, well, income tax, you don't have to pay." Well, you know what? There's lots of taxes. There's sales tax. There's gas
sales
tax.
Property tax.
Property tax. And then you rent, so maybe you don't realize you pay some taxes, like a property tax, because you rent. But actually, your money is going so that I'm a landlord, so that I can pay the property taxes. But you're paying it, and I'm paying it on your behalf, type of situation, essentially, is what's going on. So we all have these property taxes, whether you pay them specifically or not. It'll be included in your rent or something like that, you know?
Yep.
All right.
Is it the concept for the about? Does it all fall under anything like British law or anything else like that?
That's part of
British law.
Again, this stuff gets very circuitous, and there's a lot of
Yeah, what's the matter with you? This is the problem. Americans and human beings in general think that if something is too simple, it cannot be true.
Yep.
He's saying,
Yep.
Right. Here's the real story with all this. The Constitution is written in simple terms. It's not like Clifford the Big Red Dog, but it's written in a way that children can understand it. If they can read, they can ask, what does this word mean? Or whatever. And that's going to add to their comprehension.
And
but still
came from English law.
Yes,
People familiar with English law were like, we need to have rights.
Yeah, it's called Magna Carta. It was called the Magna Carta.
No, that's the restriction on the king's power. That was way before. 1490 or something.
Yeah. It was a whole thing. There was a civil war over it, basically, because they wanted to restrict the king in what he could do. And that's the first step.
And they won. The Lords won. And they made him sign to restrict his powers. You're no longer the fucking goddamn emperor on Earth. You're no longer God's created fucking son here.
Right.
Now you are a bitch and you do a job. You do a job.
Yeah. I watched a movie last week called Ironclad, and it's about a true incident that happened during that, after they forced him to sign the Magna Carta, and then it was King John, I think. I can't remember. Played by Paul Giamatti, who did a great job, man. He's such a good actor. But anyway, if you get a chance to watch it. It's pretty good.
What's it called?
It's called Ironclad. I'll send you. Yeah.
It's all propaganda. Historical evidence is the worst evidence. Did you know that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess so. Right, because, back then, the guys that were writing down the stories were they were monks, or they were priests, or they were bishops, or whatever. They were the ones that were the chroniclers, okay? So, yeah, of course they come with an agenda.
The victor writes the, what is it?
Yeah, right. He who wins writes history. The victor decides history. Yeah, exactly. But, they won in that instance because the French showed up to back their play. They were outnumbered.
I think they love telling you the underdog won, but I don't think that ever happens, really.
Well, maybe or maybe not. Anyway, let's go on with little Paulie's nonsense here. He thinks that the myth is the Constitution.
Well, he won. Bro, you always got to look at that as he's at least at a B level. He's winning. He is winning. He's going to win this. No, he's going to win.
This isn't over yet. Yeah, this isn't over yet.
Little things that you have to, little rabbit trails you have to go down. But part of this whole thing, right, stems from the birth certificate. where when there was, and we're going to go through this again, they're calling it the Great Reset now.
I don't like it.
More unofficial narrative, huh?
Well,
All
but
I had to do was be given a number and a secondary name.
What about
Pause
the
this.
vaccine? Total.
why is
Yeah,
he
go ahead.
producing? Why is he producing testimony? What I mean, what the fuck, man? He clearly doesn't understand his role here, and that he needs to. He's the sovereign. He needs to issue some orders, and then
Issue some orders,
they
and then
need
if they
to
refuse,
be obeyed. Otherwise, he needs to take criminal prosecution.
absolutely.
It's honestly as simple as that. It's a 3-step, 4-step
Yep,
process. It's not
Yep.
that hard. It's like, bro, if you're not committing he's over here trying to prove he's not committing a crime when he doesn't need to do that.
Right, but he doesn't want to use the old men's words. He wants to make it super complicated. Let's keep going.
Against it.
Absolutely.
More unofficial narrative.
You see, you go shopping and stuff to get stuff and everything. And do they confront you when you don't wear your mask or anything? Do they confront you when you don't wear your
Yeah,
mask?
they do.
So
you know, but
is it all cool though? You go in and they don't say anything.
I converse with them the same way
I
that
gotta go. I'll be right back.
All right, man.
Keep going and pause it and comment on it.
Okay. All right, man. Do what you got to do.
Okay.
Okay, so apparently this video is old. It goes back to the mask mandate era. So I don't know why he's pulling this out now. Or to be honest, I didn't watch this. I can't handle Paul. He spews nonsense constantly. I mean, yeah, he might win this.
I
but
talk to you. You know, I try to be loving, I try to be compassionate, I try to be faithful, and I try to deliver them a message that touches their spirit.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about what Paul just said. And I agree with him on most of that. But unless you're instructing these servants on our standing on rights and what it could mean to them in the practical application of our Bill of Rights, every single traffic stop is a whole string of crimes that sometimes culminate with kidnapping. Okay, and let's go backwards from kidnapping. Okay, we got kidnapping, and then we got unlawful arrest while armed. We got unlawful detainment, which is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, while armed. We got violations of 6, 8, 14, 4, and maybe even 1. In every single traffic stop. Okay, those are all a whole heap of crimes. And then you start attaching while armed to those. These cops can be in a lot of big trouble, a lot of trouble. So when we invoke and we enunciate, we are edifying the police and telling them that they're about to get in trouble. And in order to do that, we have to be willing to stand on our rights and issue orders and make these, arrest these cops. That doesn't mean put your hands on them, because obviously that isn't going to end well. But they have to understand that there are real world ramifications for conspiring to deprive rights from people. Conspiracy to deprive rights. Okay? We're edifying them. We are showing them love by telling them that they're about to get in trouble.
So that they can open their mind and heart to the truth that we're all supposed to be experiencing here.
Yeah, it's not about truth and whatever. It's not our job to enlighten the cops on anything. It's not our job to be their friends. You have to understand this, that cops live in a completely different culture from the rest of us Americans, okay? They just do. They live in this, a heap of crimes. Absolutely. What's the matter with you? Yeah, he says a heap of crimes. A heap of crimes. That's correct. But these people don't want to believe it. I'm curious about what Paul is actually trying to do too. Not because I care or because I want to learn it, because it's nonsense. It's way more complicated than just standing on your rights and proving that you're a citizen, right? Okay, that you're an actual human being that understands that they have rights, that they are in fact the masters. But Yeah, Paul spews a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Okay, well, I appreciate you talking to me about it and stuff like that.
I appreciate you having a care in your heart, man. There's not many people nowadays who care for anything, let alone truth and what's right.
It's a crazy world right now.
Absolutely.
As you know.
Absolutely, and that's why we need to do our due diligence and we need to be vigilant as far as serving truth. Because we can serve our belief systems, our egos, our careers, all this nonsense. If we don't serve the one truth, we're all going to lose it all soon, sir. We're going to lose our economy, our currency, which is a fiat currency backed by no gold and silver. It's losing its value day by day. They're moving over to electronic currency. There's a reason for all this stuff. This is not conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But if we can take back our country from these socialists that are in charge of let's face it, the White House, every single governor. I don't care. You can cite any governor you want, and I'll go back through his decisions and his policies, and I'll show you something that is socialist or where he, passes a socialist bill. I will prove to you.
Did you read this?
This
comment?
is big corporation.
His mods booted Kennedy almost immediately yesterday, and Kate was curious what Paul is actually trying to do. So I think that's why he broke this out. Yeah, that's why. That's why we're talking about this. Because I'm trying to figure out what he's actually trying to do. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Or the proof is in the pot, right? So
Yep.
what it means is that you're going to either get ripped off the pot or you're not. And the proof is in the pot. So, yeah, they banned me because I was questioning. I don't know, man. I'm pretty critical of people. People will ban me for being critical instead of dealing with whatever it is that I'm saying.
Well, look, they call it echo chamber for a reason. And if the people in the room are all saying the same thing, then there's no need to be in that room together. Go out and spread that word. If it's so right, let's see it. Let's hear it. But there isn't anything in an echo chamber. Nothing useful ever comes from that.
Well, what's the matter with you? I saw them arguing with you about what theft was. It's like, bro, theft is an immutable fact. Okay? We're not just going to argue about the definition here. It's just this thing that people do. Squirrels do it too,
Yeah, squirrels do it, ants do it, roaches do it, birds do it. I watched my crows. I have these crows that are I can't think of the name of it. They're acclimated to coming around here. Well, over the past couple of days, they've been raiding my next door neighbor's eggs because he doesn't have proper egg boxes where his hens can lay. So they just walk in and grab the eggs and bring them out and eat them. It's his fault for not making egg-proof boxes, but I'm sure that it's gonna be my fault somehow. So yeah, it's kind of like that.
Right, hold on, what are you saying? Foxes take the eggs?
No, the crows.
The crows take the eggs.
Yeah, the crows marched right into his chicken coop and were bringing out eggs, and they'd drag them. They'd fly into my garden because they know the chickens and the turkeys can't get in there after them, and then they eat them inside my garden. So I'm sure that somehow it's going to be my fault because I have acclimated those crows to coming around here because I feed them. But crows, the benefit of having crows around is they chase the hawks from eating the chickens. They chase the hawks away. So if you're not willing to protect your eggs, that's not my fault. But anyway, let's go on with this. That's theft. It's theft. But if you're not going to protect your things, then bye. If you leave your car unlocked and with the keys in it running, and somebody steals it, whose fault is that?
Because if you're doing well, you've got more property than you can keep track of. So it's the thing. It becomes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's go on with. Well, I'm trying not to get distracted here. What's the matter? You're making some solid points, but we got to get on with this.
Big business, certain big banking, central banking, cartels.
Bitcoin, VMO.
Bro, it's all connected. You know, you see the internet censorship now. You see the left-right division in the politics. You got Black Lives Matter. You got supposed right-wing racists. It's all.
No, wait. Not supposed right-wing racists. They exist. They're out there.
Hold on. Objection to irrelevancy.
Well, okay, right. They're all liberal. Okay, they're all social.
I object, though, based upon relevancy to the topic, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have any.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any. It's not relevant to Paul's situation. He's just shooting off his mouth.
Divide and conquer, man. They've been doing it since back to Rome. These are intergenerational.
They've been doing it longer than that, dude. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Banking families. Let me give you one more thing. Go look it up. Bridget d'Avignon. She was 12 years old. She went down in Guinness Book of World Records, the first historian to find out that all the presidents except for one are blood related back to one king. Okay? A king of France. All the presidents except for one. And this is all verified by mainstream media.
What is it, Bridget?
Bridget d'Avignon. And then you can search up.
Look, all of that would matter if the president was your emperor.
Yeah, but he's not. All he can do is set policy. He can't do nothing else. Please buy my stick. Yeah, exactly.
With you, he can do something with his employees.
Right.
He can't do anything with you. You're not his subject. You're not.
Yeah, he only sets policy.
Sovereign in America. That's the point. Of America.
Yeah, he only sets policy for governmental employees.
You can search up 12-year-old presidents related as keywords, and it will pop up on YouTube. Might be kind of hard to find now, but it should still be up there. I gave it to someone last week. She proved she went through all the genealogy and.
Yeah, but can we trust those genealogies?
Well,
who make?
If he was in court, this would be objected to on the basis of relevance, and it would be sustained, and then he would not be allowed to even speak on it. And you're like, that's unfair. No, it's not.
Yeah. There's a reason that objection and sustained is a thing. But then again, how reasonable is the judge going to be?
Prove that all of our presidents except for Martin Van Buren are linked to one king. So you explain to me how we're out here voting and we have a right to vote and we're choosing. How could they all be related to one?
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
Do you believe in email and stuff, or no? You don't do it?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Would you be willing to email me stuff?
Sure.
Can I put my email on there?
Absolutely.
And the card that I gave you?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great comment. I love it.
And see, this is what we're out here doing, and I'm not.
It's right there, actually. Never mind.
This is a good officer, and I want to put this officer on camera. This is Ricky.
He's willing to listen, and he's patient, and he sounds like he's really interested, or he's just doing it as an intel gathering process.
I can appreciate a cop like that'll do that. I am historically against cops, but it's like, bro, just be patient, figure out what they're coming up with, but would I even go this far with this guy? Probably not.
No, it would have been over in.
But
it would be over in less than 5 minutes.
They have to. They need to go through this stupid crap with retards. They have to.
It's good training.
I'm not a public servant like they are. They chose this. Okay? We have a serious problem with mental illness and stuff like that. So if you want to hear some stupid crap, be a public servant.
Yeah, of course.
But then don't lose your cool about it, like Officer Kruger.
Kruger and Rivas and Justin Peppers. Oh my God, that fucking guy.
Yeah, take it easy, man. You're on the clock. The clock. We've all dealt with the most ridiculous shit you can ever imagine on the clock. Okay? So just deal with it and get over it and move on. If you want to keep your job, when people invoke their rights, you goddamn well better listen. This guy doesn't even invoke his rights, and the cops still listen to him. So you need to realize Like, they're bending over backwards to figure out if this guy's invoking his rights. And you need to do the same thing, really, honestly, as a public servant. All right, we can continue.
Valdez, they just pulled me over, no license, no plates, no nothing, but that's fine because you don't need that to travel from point A to point B. And this man was willing to listen to me and understand what I was saying, and he could tell that I'm not up to no good out here, you know, and this is what the human experience is supposed to be like.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You have a good day, my friend. You take care of yourself.
I appreciate you, Mr. Valdez.
Thank you. Be safe, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, bro.
That's how you do it, folks.
Well, I'd say at this point he won. We don't need to listen to him anymore. Yeah, he won, but I think he won because he drew a decent cop, and he was cool. You know, he didn't lose his cool like a Chili or an Eric Brandt, who tend to be, you know, super loud and abrasive, and they want conflict. You know, sometimes they you know, people bring that shit on themselves, but there's no right, but that the cop has no right to beat somebody up or seize without a warrant, period. Paul achieved his goal here, but I think a lot of it was luck of the draw.
I
on
agree,
the cops
but also you can continue on. I got to take a minute.
All right, we can
Sorry.
call it if you want. We can call it if you want.
No,
let's private.
Let's get all the way to the end and watch him drive away. At least that.
That's how you do it right there. And I hope all you motherfuckers. Look, I can't get this window up now. I'm all nervous and shit. But I hope all you motherfuckers are watching. I hope you're all watching, okay? All you people who told me that go ahead and try that shit with the police and see what they do. Well, I just tried it. No license, no registration, no insurance, no nothing. Okay? They told me many times that we're going to, the first guy, we're going to arrest you, we're going to do whatever. No, whatever. Stick to it. Stick to your...
Yeah, you're right. What's the matter with you? He was really lucky to draw a patient, intelligent cop who obviously has at least educated himself more than just a high school diploma. Because a high school diploma isn't even really worth the paper that it's written on. I mean, you could probably use it to scratch notes on the back of it and it would serve some purpose. But, you know, it's something that we're supposed to have to do certain jobs like being a cop. You know, but this cop that he's talking to sounds like he does some reading and some research on his own. He may be sort of a critical thinker. So I think he got lucky in drawing this particular cop. But he served himself by being polite, by not calling names. You know, we don't owe any politeness to the cops, but, you know, starting off the bat with, what do you want, pig? You know, coming out of the box like that isn't gonna win you any kind of patience or restraint from the cops. You know, you don't want to go straight to insulting them. You know, give them a chance to prove that they're stupid before you start calling them stupid.
Fucking truth. Supervisor came, he said, we're not doing anything. We're not going to summon you. We're not going to do anything. You seem to know what you're talking about, okay? Then he asked me as a man, can I see your VIN? Because I have it covered up. As a favor, can I see it? I normally don't do it. I said, you know what? You can read my VIN to make sure that my car is not stolen. Okay, but I didn't even need to do that. He said, you're not even obligated to do that. But as a man,
So he gave up his Fourth Amendment, he gave up his Fifth Amendment right there. And his Fourth Amendment, right when he complied with that request. It's his right. He can comply if he wants. We're not obligated to comply.
gave me his word and I showed it to him. So here we are. The cops are going to let me go right here on Colfax in Colorado. No license, no registration, no insurance, no nothing, because I don't need any of that to travel from point A to point B. The Supreme Court has ruled on it. So now I'm going to post this video. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. And I'm feeling good about myself right now.
Yeah, feel good about your you're lucking out there, dude. You really lucked out. I think he did. But again, he was polite. He was eloquent. He was talking nonsense, and we understand that, but the cops don't understand that. But he talked good enough nonsense that they bought it, and they cut him loose. You know, they cut him loose. I think that the reality is probably more what's the matter you said. They got him on facial recognition on the scanners, and they figured out who he was, and they figured out that he wasn't a bad guy, that he didn't steal the car, that he's not convicted criminal, blah, blah, blah. So they cut him loose. You know, the cops look at that sort of thing. I had a deal where this dude he tried to kill me. I was at a bar, and the circumstances leading up to this don't really matter. But the dude took a swipe at me with what's called a widowmaker. It's a knuckle knife, right, that comes out in between your middle finger and your ring finger. All right, he took a swipe at me with that thing, and he nicked me on my chin just a little bit. I had to get like 8 stitches or whatever. And when it comes, I beat the hell out of this dude, and I left the state for like 8 months because I beat the shit out of him so bad. I was like, man, I know that, I'm in big trouble. But the dude had a criminal record. And, I called my lawyer when I had had enough of being where I was, and I wanted to come home. And I said, will you look into this? And he looked into it, and he called me back the next day. And he said, look, he said, the dude that you assaulted, he did 10 years for, some kind of a capital crime. He's a bad person. He's a bad person. He said, I talked to the prosecutor, and if you will just come back, we'll do an arraignment and the charges will be thrown out. So I came back, and because the dude was a fucking criminal, I got away with it. But he tried to kill me. So my response in self-defense was to put him in the hospital. And that alone should have been enough. And with all the witnesses that were there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But, sometimes you get lucky. Paul definitely got lucky here. But again, he was well-spoken. And, he was polite. It matters. It matters. You start treating these cops like shit right away, they're going to bounce you. They're going to bounce your face off the car, off the curb, off the screen on the inside of the cop car. They're going to bounce your ass. That's what they do. So this is Afro Man. He got raided. I would say it's over a year now, but anyway. This is the
Adams County Sheriff kicked down my door. Then I heard the glass break. They found no kidnapping victims, just some lemon pound cake. Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes so nice. It made the sheriff wanna put down his gun and cut him a slice.
I love this guy. He is hilarious. I've loved him since because I got high. But he is awesome, man. He's so cool. So some confidential informant, you guys might be hip to this, gave this Adams County Sheriff, I think that the town that he lives in is called Independence, which I think is hilarious and ironic at the same time. But they got this tip from a confidential informant, which means a paid snitch, that he had a torture chamber in his basement, and that he kidnapped people, and then he had vast quantities of weed that he was looking to traffic, which they didn't find any of that shit, but they did steal some of his money, and then they had the balls to sue him because he made T-shirts and shit. I just think it's hilarious.
Of what? Lemon pound cake. He wanna put down his Glock. Lemon pound cake. Trending on TikTok. Lemon pound cake. He's a family guy. Lemon pound cake. The munchies because he got hot. Lemon pound cake. Pound cake. He's a Adams County Sheriff. He's hungry and he's big as hell.
I love this guy, man. He's great. Afro Man. He's so cool. I'm taking a break here and there. They said they had a tip from a confidential informant, but they didn't find shit. They ransacked his whole house, went through all the pockets in his.
Hold on. What is a tip from a confidential informant? What is that?
Well, it's it's a tip, but how do you get a warrant based on that? Right? How do you get a warrant based on a confidential informant's information? That's what I want to know.
Well, you don't. No,
right.
You don't want to know that. You know the answer.
Yeah, you can't. That's not legit. There's no injured complainant. The injured complainant is now Afro Man.
He was sniffing for weed. Then he smelled another smell. What was that? Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes so nice. It made the sheriff wanna put down his gun and cut him a slice. Of what? Of what? Lemon pound cake.
So he made T-shirts and shit, and I don't know, other stuff. He made these. Yeah, exactly. Check this out. You're gonna
I'm
love
not
this.
big on it actually because you know what it is it's socialism and treason.
Sure, yeah, it's socialism and treason.
And if you want to make a joke out of it that it's lemon pancake and stuff, it's that you're trying to really you're obfuscating just like the news does, or just like, you know, I mean, come on, man, we don't need that. There are plenty enough people making excuses for these fucking guys.
Well, but look, they tried to sue him because of the songs that he wrote about them doing this crime against him, man. You know, what they did to him was
to believe they have a right to redress their grievances with him. And it's because
obviously,
people like him, instead of just calling them fucking traitors, which is exactly what they are, you don't take part in any wars against your own people. Certainly not over plants, you fucking weirdo. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they didn't find anything.
I don't care what they found. There's no injured complainant.
Yeah, certainly the confidential informant cannot be the complainant.
Confidential means that they're hiding something. I
mean, and if you're hiding and you're confidential. Right. If you're confidential, then that means that you can't be a criminal complainant against somebody.
You need to be on the record, certainly.
Yeah. If you're not on the record, then you're not legit. But anyway, these songs are all responses to the way they said, well, you know, like he talked to the sheriff, and the sheriff was like, well, you know, he said, we're not gonna, you know, he said, well, how about fixing my doors? He said, we're not obligated to do that, so we're not going to do that. You know, the sheriff actually told him that shit.
It is that you don't ask these idiots anything. You just file a claim of what is it? We just went over this.
Yeah, it's a criminal it's a criminal damages complaint.
You just file notice of claim. Notice of claim with you, and then it'll be dealt with administratively, just like a paycheck, where they're just like, okay.
Yep. Anyway. I think it's hilarious. I mean, yeah, he's not really standing on his rights, but it's still funny.
Yeah, like for a foreigner, I guess maybe it'd be funny. For us, it's just kind of like, what the hell are you talking about? Is this a joke to you?
Well, I don't know. This girl right here's got some nice protuberances. Anyway.
Put down his glide. Lemon pound cake. Trending on TikTok. Lemon pound cake. He's a family guy. Lemon pound cake. Munchies because he got high. Lemon pound cake. Pound cake. He sees.
All right.
Listen, it's pound cake. It's pound cake, okay? The point, what's the point? Pound cake, okay?
Yeah, pound cake.
Do you have any more questions? His point is pound cake. And you know what? This is what it's been with celebrities for fucking probably 100 years, where they don't make any points whatsoever. Pound cake. That's their point. They never make a point. People are like, oh, I love this person. Oh, why?
Yeah, we have this problem.
They never make a point at all, let alone a good one or a bad one.
Well, you know, the people want somebody to look up to. It's part of human nature, and unfortunately, you know, the people that we look up to
as
now
long as
really...
you're gonna worship these fucking morons that have no credentials whatsoever, like cops. Call them sir and all that crap. As long as you're going to do that, you're going to keep getting what you've always got, which is what? Nonsense.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, they did. What's the matter with you? They stole like $900 from him, and they gave 400 of it back, and they kept the other 5 or something. It was weird, man. It's like they came in and then they committed crimes against him. They weren't looking for, you know, ill-gotten gains. They were looking for kidnapping victims and vast quantities of weed, and they didn't find either one of those things. But they did manage to steal his money, and apparently they ate his pound
Well,
cake too.
the drug war is treason. It carries
Yep.
death penalty. They don't even get a trial where they're enemy combatants. So,
Yep, we might want to not tell the wrong people that. I'd like to,
oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
think
we
it's a coincidence that we only get 30
Oh.
views per video?
Yeah, it's because we talk about shit like this.
That's a
Yeah, exactly.
coincidence or something. Oh, it's certainly not this 100 million fucking traitors around you. It's certainly not them.
No, they're yeah.
Yep.
Obviously not. Well, I think we should wrap it up, man.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
I think we were
hey,
comprehensive
listen,
on-
I came in here to debunk this fucking idiot, and truthfully, we did that. He's basically a moron, and
he lucked into it.
Which the term moron means you can't understand the law. You're too dumb for that. It's like I don't know. There's been other numbers thrown around, but sub 60 IQ or something. A moron, where it's like, you can't. We have a system. You just can't understand it. It's all written down, but it's like you are just too stupid to get it. And unfortunately, that's a huge portion of our population. Right?
It's a problem.
What are all of these auditor videos about?
They're about losing. They're not about rights, because they never stand on their rights. Never.
No, they really.
They never issue any orders. They never. We saw one guy who arrested a cop in a video the other day, and that was it. And he did it right, and everybody was making fun of him. A lot of people were making fun of him in the comments. But.
There was a guy in the background of one of James Freeman's video, Guerrilla Publishing, and he arrested the clerk. James Freeman made it all about his little narrative and how funny it was, which it was funny, but still.
Let's not point out the real victory here.
It's not the point, and the real point here is the citizen's arrest on the court clerk for, I don't remember, disrupting his business. Let's say.
Yeah, there was.
They always do that. So.
Oh yeah, they always do it. All right, man. Let's wrap it up. And hey, man, thanks for coming, you guys. I know we don't have a gigantic crowd, but whatever. We love you for coming, and your comments were on point. And thanks for doing it today, Kennedy. It was fun, man.
Cool.
You have a good day, and I will talk to you cats some other day. Thursday for sure, though.